Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast. I'm Gimli, and tonight my guests are... First up, we've run a poll on Danny's new nickname, and so it's my pleasure to introduce Cunty McCuntface. Hello, Danny.
Cunty McCuntface.
Yes.
Is that the best you could do?
It was brilliant.
What was second and third? This will tell whether you actually did a poll or not.
What's second and third?
Don't play for time.
First one was the Fat Guy Strangler.
And the third one was Pissy McPissflaps.
Yes, it was.
I have loved telling everybody that we used the word piss flaps and it wasn't rude. I just had to explain it, and people think it's a good idea. We should start making them.
Piss Fingers McGee. That was the other one. That was a close second. We'll move on. Next up, how do you know when you're a pirate? Just are. Hello, Kris.
Hello, Mr. Gimli. How are you?
Oh, I'm top of the world.
Good.
Two busted up legs. Sat here, and I know how Danny feels.
Two busted up. What have you been doing? Tell the listeners.
It's a long story. Basically, the dogs were barking downstairs, so I went down to see if there was an intruder. They'd taken a drink of water out of the dog bowl and got water all over the floor. So I walked into the living room, bare feet, and down I went. And now I've got two bruises the size of saucers on my knees.
Oh dear.
It's extremely painful. Don't have dogs, ladies and gentlemen. They'll only fuck you up and mug you off. Next up, Aussie. Hey, Dom.
What's happening?
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Hey.
Other than your 15 knees that you've got.
Yeah. Did you see the picture? Amazing.
Yeah, I did.
Absolutely amazing. You did point out...
I was most impressed with your shaved legs and how white they were. You need to get outside.
I know. We've had a nice day today, so hopefully they'll... I'm going to go full Jermaine Jackson by the end of the week. Next up, pod favourite and back again, it's Mark King. Hello, Mark.
Oh, man, how you doing?
Not too bad, thank you. You're joining us for your take on what was the protests, aren't you? But we'll come into that later.
Yeah, that's right, mate.
It's a pleasure to have you back. And finally, journalist and one of ABW's very own bloggers.
ABW?
ABW.
Get on with it.
No. It's Simon Collings. Hello, Simon.
Hi, right, Kim.
Sorry for fucking up your intro.
Oh, don't worry, mate. It's all right.
I think there's a large part of us here that have given up.
Just given up in general.
Yeah.
Danny said he's given up on football, so...
I nearly spat my rice out when you said giving up. I have for fucking... Let's talk about dinner. Bowel movements, anything
the size of him, he's given up on life.
Oi.
Right. Danny, we'll start over by going to you with all of the scores across the board and a loan watch.
Well, this is going to be very short because I've given up. Arsenal ladies drew 0-0 with Birmingham City ladies at Arsenal. The league's already over after 2 games. Man City, Chelsea, other than that, don't bother. The under-21s played... I've been saying all season, top 2 go up. Shamalama ding dong, everyone's happy. Apparently not. Soccer way, shock horror, fucked it up. It's not the top 2 go up. First place go up. And then second, third, fourth, fifth all play off against each other 1 game. So we beat Blackburn 2-1. And now on Tuesday we play Aston Villa to get promoted to the top league where we should belong. And against Blackburn, Willock scored 2 goals, which is really good for him. Loan watch, I'm only going to do 1. Zelalem. Just do this for the rest of the pod. I think people dance along. They'll love it. It'd be cool. Rangers have had a shitty end to the season. They've won the title. They've won the league, the lower league cup, and I think they're in the Scottish FA Cup final. He's played the last 2 games, of which they lost 1-0, and I think they drew 2-2. Maybe, I don't know. I only like saying it because of his name. And was there any other information I wrote down? I written it. Yeah, the entire loan watch is a disaster. We've got a question coming up about it. In fact, I'll put the question. No, I won't. I'll ask the question later.
Are we even going to bother doing loan watch next year? I know the listeners like it.
Well, they say they like it. They just like the sound of my voice.
No, they like it when you mess up names.
We'll have to do it next year when Theo Walcott and bloody Kieran Gibbs and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and half our squad are out on loan, so we'll have to do it, surely.
Who's that Spanish youth centre-back we've got whose name begins with a P?
Julio Pecklazelo.
What do we do if he goes out on loan? I'm fucked.
I'll have to record it for you. You just have to dub it in.
It'll be an hour and a half of me just trying to say his name.
You got to say he's screwed when he can't even do Akpom.
Oi, Apcom, you leave him alone.
Oh,
Terrell's injured. He's our only real hope. Wellington, Silver and Bolton got relegated. Sanogo and Charlton got relegated. Kamara might as well not be there. Chesney's doing all right. What did they do at the weekend, Kris? Roma, did they win again? Or
They
lose,
won
or draw?
3-2 on Monday, and Francesco Totti got another goal.
Totti,
for
the
Roma.
man, the legend. He should be our
Yes.
next manager. That's who I
Genoa.
want. Did Debuchy play for Bordeaux? I don't know. I've not even looked it up.
I don't believe he did. I think he's.
Are they still shit?
They won. Did he play? I'll come back to you on that one. I know they won. They won
I don't know. I
3-2,
don't think
4-2.
people
but-
overly care.
Are you done?
I'm completely done going back to me rice.
I've just seen a newspaper article about you. 10 years ago, Lotto made me a millionaire. Now I suck dogs off for Quavers.
Well,
He,
you know, I do like a cheesy quaver.
he did play, Danny.
Did he?
Yeah, full 90.
They're still
4-2
shit
win.
though, aren't they?
Wonderful.
Lovely. Get on with it.
So we'll start off then by talking about our 1-0 win over Norwich at home. Protesters aside, how did we do, Simon?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think everyone will admit it wasn't the greatest game to watch. Certainly, the first half I think was about as bad as we played all season. But the second half, to be fair, when the change was made and Welbeck came on, I mean, Arsenal were the only team really in it, I thought, and it was a classic case of most of the season. Really, lots of possession, but just lacking that cutting edge. But having said that, Norwich never really looked like scoring. Got the 3 points, which should hopefully now give them a chance of getting above Spurs. You know, there wasn't a lot to say about it, really. I mean, I don't know what the others think, but I thought it was a damp squib of a game, considering a team like Norwich, you should really roll over 3 or 4-0.
No, I agree. We'll go to Chris next. And Chris, there were calls from some of the fan base for Welbeck to start before the game. And he proved the fans right, didn't he? Because he came on and pretty much scored with his first touch. Superbly taken goal.
Yeah, lovely goal. Lovely goal. And fair play to him. I think I was probably in the minority that wasn't massively surprised to not see him start, just because I thought that, stupidly, Norwich at home would be the ideal platform for Olivier Giroud to sort of get back on the goal-scoring trail again. So I wasn't that surprised to see him start. But, you know, fair play. He came off the bench and he did his business. Lovely finish. And also, despite people still thinking he's the worst striker in the world, I think a little nod to Giroud, because, yes, he didn't have the best of games, but without his knockdown and him staying on the pitch, then we probably wouldn't have got that goal. So, yeah, pleased for Danny Welbeck, and he's had a really strong return since he's come back from injury.
No, very true. And it was one of those games, Mark, where we didn't have a single...
What's he doing?
So did it fucking...
What have
Did
you
it-
done?
I must have muted myself.
You're a fucking idiot, aren't you?
All right.
There's
no,
your extra
no, that's
sorted.
staying in. That's like you, because you are not in control of your facilities.
It's the end of the season. I don't care.
No, in fact, just go and throw your stuff your
Go and-
laptop full of quavers.
I'm going down to the subway tonight.
Are you what you gonna do?
Bag full of Quavers.
Oh, lumley.
Lumley.
Lovely about a mouthful of food.
Jesus, put the fork down, fatty.
Oi!
Next up,
Use a
Mark.
spoon, it's easier. Shove them more in.
Mark, it was one of those games where we didn't have a single shot on target for the first half. What do you make of that statistic?
I don't know. I mean, I was rather distracted for the game, to be perfectly honest, for obvious reasons. But my overriding sense watching that game was fairly boring. And it was kind of like a lot of the home games that we'd seen, where a team that we should be beating, comes and defends well, which they've probably practiced out, do all week. So, they're going to be very well set up for it. And we just struggled to make much of an impact on it. I think I'm not sure as you say, we didn't have a shot, and I think Czech made a couple of decent saves in the first half. And it was just, to me, it was just symptomatic of where we're at the moment, to be fair.
I think many would agree with you on that. Dom, I'll come to you next. And we've talked in previous shows about Mesut Ozil and his body language. He didn't carry himself very well, I thought. He looked clearly disgruntled at the end of the game. He looked frustrated. Did you pick up on any of those things, and do you worry about him wanting to stay at Arsenal?
I do actually worry about him wanting to stay. I think I read something the other day. He's created, 436 chances since the start of the year. Might not be the exact number, but there or thereabouts. And no one's putting him away. It's like being in bed with Jessica Alba and deciding to have a wank. He's kind of wasted.
That's
I
a great analogy of it.
And I mean, I don't understand playing Olivier Giroud at the moment either, because he just wants the ball passed to his feet. You've got one of the best through ball passes in the world, and has to resort to just kicking it straight to Giroud's feet all the time. He's trying. He's making runs into the box. He's doing other things to try to get involved, and I can understand why he's frustrated. And if his body language is a bit off, it's not really something that I'm gonna level criticism at him for. It's more the rest of the team being a bunch of shithousery out there, and it's just too much sideways going on, and not enough, putting defences under proper pressure, because we know that teams are going to, come to the Emirates, sit back and defend, and it's just so obvious what's going to happen. It's deja vu. They're going to put 8 around the box, defend narrow, because we don't use wingers to get out wide and create any space down the sides. We're going to try to pass through a brick wall, and they're going to kick it into somebody, and they're going to counter-attack and have good chances. That just seems to be what happens week in, week out.
It certainly does. And Danny, I know we didn't concede any goals, but I would consider that a poor defensive display, considering, we were under the caution, so many players let their players go. What did you make of the defensive performance? Was it up to par for you?
Yeah, it's not too bad considering that Gabriel doesn't speak a word of English, but apparently that's not a problem at all. But that's now 3 clean sheets in a row against the mighty West Brom, who didn't turn up, against the mighty Sunderland, who didn't turn up, and against the mighty Norwich, who still haven't turned up. But then we conceded 4 before those 2 games, but then before that we had 2 other clean sheets. That means we had 5 clean sheets in 7 games, and that's the basis of a half-decent season, don't you think? Against shit teams, though.
It's fair enough.
Look at this for a stat I've just been digging around for. Mr. Olivier French lamppost Giroud, 15 games without a goal for us now. Of those 15, he's played the full 90 minutes in 7. I think another one he started and then got taken off after about 70 minutes. Of those 15, we've won 6, drawn 6, lost 3, and not scored in 4 of those games. So just makes you wonder that if he had maybe done his job and scored the odd goal in some of them games, then maybe we'd have got some more points. Even like a goal, if he'd have got like a goal against Stoke, a goal against Southampton, and then maybe a goal against Sunderland, that would have been 6 more points we have, and then that would have put us up in second place and far away from the scumbags who are going to fail it anyway. We're going to finish second above them. But then we'll tell people what you were reading. That was it the AST tweeted and a few others about Giroud.
Yeah, I believe the AST tweeted about half an hour before we came on this podcast that Arsene Wenger was willing to match the contract offer put on the table to Giroud by Wolfsburg, and that equated to, I think it was £144,000 a week.
Well, if they put it on the table for him, he'll probably miss it.
He'll probably sign top right-hand corner of the table.
But I agree with what Dom was saying. It's like being in bed with Jordi Alba. That was Jordi Alba, he said, wasn't it?
No.
No?
Jessica Alba.
Oh,
Jordi Alba's the Barcelona left back, so
oh, that's what I thought he meant.
unless you're inclined that way, then
there might be a few who'd rather be in bed with Jordi than Jessica.
Well, to be fair, he gets up and down pretty well, doesn't he?
Is there anything else anybody wanted to add to that game? I know it was fairly lackluster. There weren't really a lot of talking points, protests aside. Anybody want to chip in with anything?
Alexis, body language on substitution.
That wasn't good, was it? He looked fucked. That's the best way to make sure that Sanchez and Ozil stay at the club next season, is sub one off and make the other one play with Giroud for 90 minutes over and over and over. Genius.
No, is there anyone that wants to discuss that? Because he did walk straight down the tunnel, didn't he? And again, this is more case of the Ozils as well, that both of our star players look a little bit disgruntled. And, Kris, should we be genuinely worried about losing one or the two of them?
It's 2 different arguments, I think. I mean, should we be worried about losing top talent? Probably. But then I think you could probably say the same about 90% of clubs all around the world. Just ask Borussia Dortmund at the moment. But, yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the incident, if you isolate the incident on itself, granted, it's not ideal. But at the same time, different players react in different ways. And I think with Alexis, the one thing you'll always get from him is he'll try and he'll keep on going. His body language is always good on the pitch. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not that bothered. I think if there was an actual mouthing off at the manager, I would be more concerned. The fact that he just sort of looked frustrated at himself as much as anything else, and probably the team. I just think it's a sign that he is just frustrated, and the fact that the manager didn't allude to it post game, neither did I don't think many of the media picked up on it heavily. I think it's just one of those things. It just happens, and you get on with it. If he needs to be disciplined, he does. But to be honest, I just think he was just frustrated. He couldn't do more in the game himself.
Maybe his poor body language is down to the fans. It's been a week since we did the last podcast, and Arsene Wenger made some comments blaming the fans for the club's poor performance this season. Now, Mark, you're always very vocal on this. What did you make of the aforementioned comments?
I just couldn't figure out why he did it. I mean, we all know that he's a very intelligent man. And along with that, you think that the club should be employing the sort of people who'd be like, right, Arsene, in your press conference today, they are going to ask you about the protest. Just say, just bluff it off. Say you're there to talk about Arsenal and Norwich, and you're not there to talk about that, and you've got no, just don't do it. But he decided that he wanted to lay into what everybody assumed was Piers Morgan. He wanted to lay into a few ex-players, and then he wanted to lay into the fans. And the interesting thing for me is that when he's laying into the fans at the Emirates, he is not only laying into the ones like me who are looking for a change at the club, but he's laying into the ones who don't want to change. He's lumped us all together, to be honest. I don't think he was suggesting that the ones who are still behind him are singing wholeheartedly throughout the game, and the ones who want him gone are sitting there booing. So he's actually lumped us all in. And when we come on to the protest later, I think the interesting thing will be is our people are very proud of the one Arsene Wenger song that went round at the time of the protest. But how many times have we heard it before this season? That's all I would say about that. But I just didn't think he needed to do it, and is it an example of how little regard he has for the fans, or how little regard he has for pissing off the fans? I don't know. I just didn't think he needed to do it.
And Simon, you're someone that has to sit through an awful lot of press conferences. Did his comments worry you? Do you think it was a major foot in mouth moment for him?
Well, I was there at the press conference, and he sort of had an initial sort of 2-minute long, impassionate, we can call it a rant or whatever you want, and then the subsequent stuff about the difficult climate and things like that sort of came when one reporter was asking him about, you look at Liverpool with Jurgen Klopp and Anfield and how great the atmosphere is there and stuff, and that's a big club. And I think that sort of riled him. And I think rather than him going in there with the mindset of, right, look, I want to slag off the fans, I want to slag off this, I think just emotionally, he just got caught up and he bit a little bit on the question and he fired back. And I think with Wenger, it's born out of, he perhaps sometimes feels like he doesn't get, the just credit he's done for what he's done for the club for the 20 years or so. And I think that's why he rises to it, rather than him being annoyed at, the fans and the atmosphere himself. I think it's when he gets linked with leaving, and when Klopp was linked with the job, he gets annoyed because, Jurgen Klopp's been at Dortmund for 4 or 5 years and apparently he's better at doing this job than me. I think that's what is born out of his comments, rather than him specifically attacking the fans and stuff. But I do think, personally, I thought the comments were out of line, and there was some people saying afterwards going, I don't know if he's attacking the fans, but when he said we've had to play in a difficult climate at home, I think that's pretty clear cut what he's saying. So, yeah. I think he'll probably regret it, a few days back. You think, maybe I should have said that. I think he just emotionally, he just got the better of him, and it was something that happens to managers, and it's probably a sign of the stress he's under, because if anyone's not going to be happy with it, and I think before the 12th minute, if anyone looked at the bench and looked at Arsene Wenger, you could tell he was nervous, and he was looking around. So it's a sign of the times, I think.
Dom, he copped an absolute pasting on Twitter for his comments, rightly so.
Yeah, look, like Mark said, the smart, sensible move would have been just to brush it all off and say that I've got a job to concentrate on and I think after the game initially as well, I saw the interview and that's basically what he did after the game, and I think that's probably his way of like Simon said. Maybe reassessing what he was supposed to say the first time, because he basically just said, look, I'm as frustrated as anybody that the season's gone, how it's gone, and I can understand that the fans are upset because, he doesn't want the fans to be upset, etc. So, yeah, I think if you were to ask him, like Simon said, he probably would agree that he shouldn't have probably said the things that he said. It just didn't actually achieve anything, did it?
No. And Kris, to end the segment on his initial comments, as a fan, how did those comments make you feel?
I mean, I suppose I was one of the ones in the camp that didn't take it too seriously, because, like Simon, I kind of saw that, yes, some of the things he said were a little bit ill-advised, I thought, and the way he put it more than anything else was not well advised. But I try not to get too wound up with it, because I think a lot of people go off at the deep end, and you only have to look at our social media, and we've done that to death. But I honestly think that we're at the stage now where some people are actively looking for him or the players or anyone around us just to say something so they can all go Rah! And just jump on it. And I do think that some people do that. Not everyone, I should stress. There's a lot of level-headed people out there, but I do think that it's polarized a bit by the fact we have social media. And I think us, and like Simon said there, I think somebody probably should have just had a little bit of a word with him or like Mark said as well, have a word with him pre-press and say, you're going to be asked this, either refuse to answer those questions or just side bat them away. So it didn't bother me too much. I did put out a slightly, well, it was a tongue-in-cheek tweet where I said, just a quick question, asking for a friend. If you went to work every day and everybody cutted you off every 5 minutes, wouldn't you want to have a little bit of a dig back once in a while? So, and it was very tongue-in-cheek. But even from that, I got a load of people going, "Oh, so you're justifying it?" It's like, "Oh, I give up. Seriously, nobody's got any humour anymore." And people go off on the deep end. So, no, it was ill-advised. It wasn't the best choice of words, but it doesn't really get to me, to be honest.
No. And I would go to Danny on this, but he's probably got a face full of Chinese.
You're not wrong.
Lovely. So we'll talk about the protest itself then. And Mark, as one of the people of the voices of the protest, how would you say it went? I can say that as a fan on the outside, I kind of expected there to be a few more people with the publicity that the protest got. How do you feel it went on the day?
It's difficult to say, to be fair. I know that it's come in for a lot of criticism, and it's been said that it failed and it didn't work, etc., etc. Now, and to that, I will hold my hands up and say I'm disappointed at the number of people who decided to actually visibly hold up a banner in a peaceful way to show that they felt that there was change needed at the club. And let's not forget, this isn't a against Wenger. It's a protest against how things have turned out at the club over the last few years, and that I think a large portion of the fan base feel that the club is not doing all that it can to succeed on the pitch, which is really what Arsenal Football Club and any football club is about: maximising its resources and its opportunities and its talents to succeed on the pitch. In terms of the number of people, yeah, I'm disappointed, and I wouldn't ever pretend not to be. On the other hand, I would say, well, when have we ever seen a protest of any sort at the Emirates, whereby you've got, placards being held up in whatever numbers, where people are actually in larger numbers than we've seen before, having a protest and taking the opportunity to say, well, we think there's enough. You got to remember as well, there's an awful lot of empty seats there. And are they the people that are protesting with their feet by saying, you know what, I just can't be bothered coming to this game anymore. I'm just going to jack it. I'm not even going to. I might try and get rid of my ticket on Ticket Exchange, but I don't know how well selling they were leading up to the game. And and then you've got the banners, the proper banners in the end, or the bed sheets. Everybody likes to refer to them as bed sheets in a very derogatory way. It's quite childish to do that, to be perfectly honest. But carry on saying it if you want. But the banners that came out at the end, it's the first time they've been seen in the stadium. And I think as a starting point, with the black scarf with AST sort of behind it, with Red Action behind it, and with the Gooner fanzine behind it, I think it's a good starting point, and I think that it will organically grow, or that people haven't looked at that. The people involved in the protest, like myself, haven't looked at that and thought, oh well, there's no point, we're not going to bother. I think it's just a question of people have to actually understand that they can have the courage to say, you know what, I fancy a change. It's not necessarily, you haven't got to be, and I know this is one of the problems with it, you haven't got to be disrespectful about Wenger. You haven't got to be particularly disrespectful about the board members or Kroenke, but you can say there is something not right with our club. Whatever you think it is, wherever you think the problem lies, something is wrong, and therefore you should have the courage to actually be able to hold up a banner and say it's time for change. I mean, we're not slagging people off. Yeah, we're just saying it's time for change. And the club, unless we do this, the club will just carry on doing what it's doing. The owner will carry on milking us for all he can. And that's what we're talking about. And I think, hopefully more people will show a bit of courage.
And Mark, I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot here. I know Dom wants to ask you a question. But we saw protests in and outside of the stadium. And although you put your weight fully behind the protests inside the stadium, I just wanted to gauge your reaction on the protests outside of the stadium. I believe there were some fans on the roundabout singing about Wenger dying in May or such like. What are your thoughts on that bunch of individuals and the way that they were protesting?
Okay, right. I was on the roundabout because the initial meet for us to hand out banners fans was on the roundabout. So I was on the roundabout. Whether I was there at the time of the incident that the video clip was shown, I'm not sure. I didn't hear it, and that's not me doing an arson. It's literally I didn't hear it. Now, the problem that we've got is that there are a lot of personalities involved in the overall protest, be that people who want Wenger gone, or people who want the board gone, or people who want both. Yeah, there's a lot of personalities involved in that, and they're all going to be involved, and you can't stop people from expressing their opinion. Yeah, so it's like those people that we all know are the ones that seem to wind people up the most. They're going to be involved in it, and there's nothing that any of the fan groups who initiated this protest can do about that. Because the same way that we feel that we have got a right to express our opinion, as have the people who wanted to sing One Arsene Wenger, it's the same way that these guys who are a little bit more vociferous about getting rid of Kroenke, admittedly, but more about Wenger, will turn up as well. The song, right? The song. I will say this now, and I can say this on behalf of all four groups that are involved in it. You cannot sing a song that is anything to do with wishing ill health or dying or anything like that on Arsene Wenger. Yeah, it is shameful and it is disgusting behaviour. And if you're one of the people who sang that song, you should be ashamed of yourself, because that behaviour is just pathetic. Yeah, so I'll say that for a start. What I will do, and I'm not doing this in defence of a certain person, I think we all know who I'm talking about, yeah, is that when I saw that video clip, the song is sung, and it's a regular song that I've heard, and as it's tailing off, there is not that many people singing it. One is too many, I know that, but there's not that many. There's 2 or 3 people that sing that particular bit. The guy that got a lot of stick for it wasn't one of them. Yeah, so what I am saying is that we cannot have that kind of behaviour, because there is no way that this protest can be taken seriously, yeah, which it should be, and can be given the respect that it deserves, yeah, whilst people do stupid things like that, because it just makes it far too easy for the club certainly to try and dismiss us, and for other fans to try and dismiss us. And we've all seen what the BSM have been called in the past, and and it won't be long before AST and Red Action and the Guna get lumped in with that as well. So I can't. We will never countenance that behaviour, and it's disgusting, and it shouldn't have happened. So that's my take on the bit on the roundabout.
No, I admire your honesty there, Mark. Dom, I know you've got a question.
Yeah, as one of those annoying foreign fans that seem to be peskily popping up with opinions everywhere, Mark. One thing I wanted to ask you though is that it seemed that the coverage from where I was sitting, after the game, the highlights, etc., it was all about the protest. So even though there probably wasn't as many people as you guys were hoping to join in, the media being like it is, and Simon would probably be better placed to comment on that it got its desired result, I feel, because the only things you saw after the game, headlines, highlights, was just the protests. The people on the panel where I was watching, I think it was at one of the Canadian stations, all they were talking about was the protest. No one gave us stuff about the game. There was no comments on, the goal or substitutions or anything. It was only about the protest. So it made it seem like that was a much, much bigger thing than maybe what it felt at the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of publicity around it. There was interviews on TalkSport twice last week. We were in the Sun. Please excuse us for being reported in the Sun. London Live. There was in other papers as well. I mean, there is a lot of publicity around it because, to a certain extent, right, we've all just said about how boring the game was. So literally, if there hadn't have been the protest, I don't know what they'd have written about, because the game was one of the most unexciting games this season, and that's saying something. But the other thing is that, and maybe Simon will have an opinion on this, is that a lot of the press probably do feel that Wenger, has brought a lot of this on himself because makes a lot. Wenger and the club makes a lot of the same mistakes each year, and we've seen that this groundhog season is what we go through, where we think we're in with a chance, and then injuries come along and scupper that, and then we fall apart in the spring, and then we have a late surge to make sure that we secure Champions League football. So maybe the press are quite happy, because actually, instead of one of them having to grow a pair of balls and start calling Wenger out on a serious level, it means they can actually let the fans do it and just report on that. So it's a bit of a get-out card for them, And then you've got, John Cross roundly criticising the protest, which made me laugh because it's John Cross. But there you go. So that's why I think it's in there. And I mean, let's not forget, we're Arsenal Football Club. So for Arsenal Football Club's fans to be protesting, it takes a lot.
And when you've got the protests going on, you're asking for change. I guess the other thing the stations, media, etc., picked up was it was very much focused on Arsene Wenger. Would that be accurate, or are you guys just basically asking for a change in general? Would you be fine with him staying for another 2 years, but the board completely getting a big reshuffle?
Well, I mean, on the Black Scarf website where we listed the points, I think we did 8 points that we said were where the club was going stale, and only one of them is actually about the manager. The other 7 are all about aspects of the club. So, they're about the owner, they're about the advisory fees, they're about the lack of footballing people on the board, they're about the lack of ambition and pressure that the owner puts on to the manager to succeed. And, one is about the manager and the mistakes that you can attribute to him. Now, you see, on the flip side of that, people will say, well, hold on, that's fine, you saying that about, and we agree. There's lots of people that agree about Kroenke and the board. But still support Wenger. But, you will then have people who will say to you, well, actually, hold on a minute, that's fair enough. But you know what, we have spent £75 million on 2 players over the last few years. So there is money there, and the other players we bought. Kroenke doesn't select these players and buy them. Kroenke doesn't train them. Kroenke doesn't play them, run them into the ground, perhaps. Kroenke doesn't motivate them. He doesn't give them the tactics. That's all down to Arsene Wenger. So to my personal opinion is that we have got we have got a double-edged sword here. It's a two-headed snake, as I refer to it. Personally, I believe that the manager is past his sell-by date. That's not going to come as a surprise to any of you guys. On the other hand, I do feel that there is a huge problem at the top of the club, and that there is no ambition for sporting success. That Kroenke has actually come out in the press and stated that if he wanted to win championships, he wouldn't have bought a football club. He's not interested in sporting success. He doesn't really seem particularly interested in it with his US sports franchises, shall I call them, which is a widely known fact. He has stockpiled a load of cash in the club, which has improved his financial ratings, which is wonderful when you're trying to secure a huge loan to take the Rams out of St. Louis and back to Los Angeles. So to me, it is both sides of it. Can you fix one while the other is still in place? I'm not convinced, but that's my personal opinion.
Mark, Can I ask you something quickly? Just quickly, again, if I may.
No, go ahead.
Mark, do you, just out of interest, I wanted to ask Raj the same thing, actually. What do you say to those people that felt that the wording of the protest was kind of a way to get even the people that are not particularly against the manager into that kind of stream, if you get my point? Like, do you think that's fair? Do you think that's unfair criticism? Was it sort of, do you think some people use as an excuse to sort of hop sides or try and get some of the so-called Wenger supporters on side, but using the wording differently? Is that a fair criticism, or do you think not?
I'm not sure it's a fair criticism, but I would say you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Whichever way we went with this, there were always going to be a certain proportion of our fan base that would say, well, hold on, Kroenke and the board are not the problem, it's Wenger. Or if we'd have gone all out and made it about Wenger, they'd have said, well, hold on, it's not Arsene Wenger's fault, it's all about the owner and the board. So, we really wanted to say that we think that there is an overall problem. Now, whether you believe Arsene Wenger is still got the skills as a manager to lead us on, that's one thing. But he doesn't appear to actually have any real pressure on him to do that. There doesn't seem to be an owner saying to him, look, hold on, what's going on? I've given you money to spend on players. You've had that money. We've had it for a few years now. And all right, yeah, you won the FA Cup the year before last and last year. Now we've got nothing this year in the FA Cup, and we're not really doing any better in the league. And look who's the two teams ahead of us in the league. It's not Manchester United, it's not Man City, and it's not Chelsea anymore. It's not the three clubs that where you told me you couldn't really compete with them, and we were finishing fourth because we had the fourth highest wage bill and we were the fourth biggest revenue, and hence that now it's Spurs and Leicester. So I think we're trying to get everybody to understand that there is a problem at Arsenal that is dragging the club. It's holding the club back. Yeah, I nearly said dragging it down. It's not dragging it down, but it's holding the club back from where it should be. This is Arsenal Football Club. This is a club that, I'll say has a manager that people still tell me is a genius and can attract the top players. It is based in London, one of the greatest cities in the world. Yeah, it has a magnificent stadium. It has magnificent facilities, and it pays good wages. We should be competing at a much higher level than we currently are and have been for the last few years.
That's fair enough. He came out after the game. He said, we were warned about the protesters. You want to make the fans happy. I'm sorry if I don't achieve it. I'm irritated and frustrated if I cannot keep people happy. I have respect for the club and gave so much for the club. I want to make people happy. I think there's a lot of people that will view those comments at the end and go, but there were a lot of people at the game that were singing the song as well. Mark, do you think it was as much a show of the uncertainty around the club and how many fans weren't happy, but there was also the other side of the coins where there were a lot of Arsene Wenger fans, should I say, that got their chance to actually show their support for the manager?
Well, yeah, but then I'm not being funny, but there's no reason why they can't show their support for the manager every time there's a game. If people want to start up a chant of one Arsene Wenger, they can do it. I mean, I'm not going to join in with it, but I'm not going to criticise anyone for doing it. And it's a chant that for the team, and maybe it might grow. I mean, I felt it was a chant that was in direct protest at the protest, as it were. It was a very smart thing for the people to do. On the other hand, I'd say, well, hold on, how many times have we heard it this season? I don't think we've heard it at all, if sporadically. So to a certain extent, it's a bit of a foot in mouth moment, but I can understand why they did it. And Wenger, well, look, I mean, nobody's doubting that Wenger wants to. I don't doubt the man wants to succeed. I don't doubt that the man works very hard to try and succeed. I just personally don't believe that he's actually got the capability to do it anymore.
No, and I should say that that's your opinion, and everybody is entitled to their opinion.
Exactly.
I hashtag time for change, and I think I got cunted off by about 10 different people, and my response to each of them was, how can I be right or wrong? I don't say your opinion is wrong because you like the man, you want him to stay, and you think there's nothing wrong with the football club. Yes.
Did you notice Mark managed to do the entire of 5, 6, 7 minutes and didn't cunt anyone off, didn't use any bad language, and was very grown up about the entire thing. That's what happens when you're not an attention-seeking fuckwit.
That's very
Oh, I've gone and ruined it. And also, to say, from a neutral fan's point of view, I was saying to you lot before we started, that my bloke come down to do my ceiling, and he was painting the ceiling for me, and he's an Arsenal fan, and we were talking, and he went, what do you think about these protests? And I went, well, I'm fully behind it. Something's got to be done. He went, yeah, that Black Scarf movement, they've got a lot of good stuff done. I nearly didn't make it up, did I? They have a lot of good stuff to say, and I like the way they do it. I went, well, actually, no, the blokes who run that, they're really good blokes. He went, and then we started talking about some of the other Arsenal stuff, and then we all ended up in tears, and he left because it's not good. But see, that's from someone who doesn't know I do a podcast or any of that other stuff, and doesn't go to the games anymore. He stopped going about 4 years ago because he's just fed up with it all, and he's been going since '72. Wow. So that makes it show that it is worthwhile doing, Mark.
And I know Simon wants to chip in with the media reaction.
Yeah, I think I know Mark was saying about the fact the media seem more picking up on it, and there seems to be more interest in it. I think it's just because, like we've said, it's such a big club, and the rarity of having this sort of protest on whatever scale, whatever size, at a club as big as Arsenal is going to be reported on in the media. And I think also the point of saying, could before people have said, Wenger, it's time to go. I think we're actually at a point now where this is going to be a decisive moment. I think if anyone had written a piece before, say 2-3 years ago, going, it's time for Wenger to go, I think you wouldn't really have got the feel of it, of being an editor had probably gone, there's no chance happening. That's rubbish. I don't want to read about that. Whereas now I think there is a belief that this is a decisive moment in Wenger's tenure and that he could actually go for once. And there have been some good bits on it. Oliver Kay for the Times wrote a nice piece about how there's a lot of talk of how much Arsenal could lose if Wenger goes. They'll lose the stability of the top four, but there's also not much talk about what they can gain, and that sometimes you've got to take a risk. And for me, from a media viewpoint, I think the biggest talking point for many protesters is the lack of fans turning up. I mean, I think that the West Brom game was perhaps the worst, about 10,000 empty seats, the Norwich people not turning up. And people can say, yes, the club gets the money, but the atmosphere at the ground, it's not toxic like at somewhere like Villa Park, where if you've been there this season, I mean, that place was absolutely awful. It's more people just are stopping caring, which is almost worse because it's like playing like behind closed doors. And I think that for me is the biggest protest of all, is people staying away. And it's the only way you can really do it, because it's not like the old days where you can write to the chairman or you can write to the club. That's not in that world anymore. You've got to make it visible, and you've got to use the media. So I think that is going to be the only way people can get through. And if it's need to be done that way, then fans have their right to do it, don't they?
Yes, they certainly do. Is there anything else anybody wanted to cover on the protest itself?
One more quickie for Mark, if that's all right.
Go for it.
Just a quickie. Mark, if you, again, speaking neutrally, if I think we're all kind of the, I say agree, we're all kind of the belief that Arsenal will stay on next season no matter what happens. Can I just ask you, like, from a personal perspective and from those that protested with you, do you get the impression that people would get more hostile if he stayed beyond that term, even if other things were to change? So let's say, for argument's sake, he changed the coaching staff, or this summer, for example, he brought in 2 or 3 marquee players. Do you think people would be willing to sort of say, okay, he's tried to change things, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, or do you think it's too far gone now?
I think there's an element of our fan base that are too far gone now. There are literally people who have walked away from the stadium and say that they won't go back while Arsene Wenger is still manager. So those people have been lost. For me, I will support Arsenal Football Club because that's who I support, regardless of who the manager is. So I will support the team week in, week out. If he can turn it around and prove me wrong, then I'll be happy. And I mean, this is what I've said for many years: is that I don't, anybody who thinks I want to be right about this is deluded. Yeah, there is no way on earth that I want to be right about my opinion on Arsene Wenger, because all that means is that the club is not succeeding, and I don't want that. I want the club to succeed. There's nothing makes me happier, but I just, but my opinion is that he's not. So therefore, I'm trying to initiate some sort of change that will lead to the club being more successful. Be that him, be it the board. I think there is still a huge amount of fans. And you can see that in the stadium, that there are a lot of people there. And I've seen the comments. There are a lot of people there that felt that it's time for change and that something's wrong, but they either didn't feel that they could demonstrate that outwardly to a load of people that they sit with most weeks, or they don't want to do something that they feel is then disrespectful to Arsene Wenger. I don't think many of them particularly give a shit about Kroenke and the board, but I think they feel that holding up that time to change banner is them being disrespectful to Arsene Wenger. And there's still a lot of people who will not do anything to be disrespectful to him for everything that he's done for the club. So those people will, I think, fairly easily be converted back into full-on Wenger fans if he turns it around and does what's required to actually mount a proper challenge next season.
And quickly, Mark, just before we move on, what's next?
What's next is Manchester City away.
No, in regards to obviously this we've done this protest. Will there be other protests? Is there any different ideas? Are the fan groups going to correlate some more and put new ideas on the table?
Manchester City away.
Okay, fantastic. Right then, Danny, it's next up to you with some Twitter questions.
We've had some really, really good questions, people. Thank you very much. It's almost brightened my day, realising not every Arsenal fan is an attention-seeking fuckwit. Right, Jack Joseph, who is a Haitian, I think he's our number one Haitian listener. Probably our only. Actually, his boys might listen. I'm not sure. He says, does Twitter give us a distorted view of the fan opinion on the manager? Is it an echo for the loudest? Probably voices after that lot. Dom, you've been a bit quiet. Do you want to give us some truths?
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty fair, to be honest. I really do. I mean, I think that maybe with the protest it highlighted that where the vocal people thought that it may be a little bit more vocal, but the fact is the majority of fans are like me at the moment, and they just, like you, Danny, you just don't give a shit anymore. You just think, I'm not gonna be loud about it because I just don't care. If the manager was to leave at the end of the season, then I wouldn't really be all that worried, and if he's to stay, I'm really not that worried because that's not why I watch the Arsenal. It's not, and everybody gets different things out of following the game, and I think someone like Mark just gets high blood pressure and increased risk of stroke, but I don't watch for the same reasons, or I don't sort of get the same emotions out of those types of things that other people do, and that's not right or wrong. It's just how I choose to I avoid social media and I avoid those things when the team's doing poorly or when it's doing things. I avoid it like you avoid salad.
How dare you? I don't know. I always do. I don't mind the taste of cress because it's a bit peppery. That's it. So anything I eat, 1 or 2 bits of cress, and that's me done.
I will say though, before I'd
Go on.
absolutely tip my hat to people like Mark that organise these things because
You get virtually no thanks
it needs
for
to. It does need to be done because people like me aren't gonna speak out because, like I said, I don't follow. I'm not at the games. I'm not there. It's not. It is different being a foreign fan. Exactly, it really is. I take the piss about it, and I think it's funny when foreign fans get upset that, the local fans might say your opinion doesn't matter as much. But I don't really have an opinion because I'm not there. I don't, I'm not the person that has to go and put up with the crappy atmosphere and watch it live and pay money and, take time out of my Saturday to go to the games, etc. So it's not that I think that I'm not entitled to an opinion. It's just that I don't think that I can actually form a decent opinion. So it needs to be done. People like Mark need to be there to put pressure on the club to make sure that, like he said, that it's not being held back.
But when you were back in, it was Adelaide, wasn't it? When you were back in there, you were staying up to the middle of the morning, and now you're in Canada, you're getting up at the crack of dawn, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the dedication or commitment or whatever to watch the team is just as much as anybody's, but it's just that, not a right, I guess, to have an opinion on the protests and things like that, but it's just, I don't get the same out of watching it as what someone goes to the game. I think that's a pretty reasonable thing to say.
Simon, what's your view on that?
I think with Twitter and fans getting involved in it, I find a lot of the people on Twitter aren't the ones who necessarily go to all the games, so it's difficult to gauge a reaction from people on Twitter and a reaction from fans who are at the games every week. And Arsenal fans are one of the most vocal on Twitter compared to everyone else, so I think you have to take it as what it is, and it's a vast demographic of a lot of people there just shouting, just making noise. And that's the problem with Twitter mainly, is the fact that there's a lot of noise, and there is a few good nuggets of points and stuff, but a lot of it is awash with people shouting out random rubbish and crap. And if you can sift through it, there are some good people and you can have a debate with someone, but a lot of the time you'll make a point and you'll get told you're a twat or a wanker or whatever, and you can't actually have a discussion with anyone. So it's a minefield, to be honest with you, really.
Kris or Gimli or Mark, do either of you want to have a little tickle on that? Oh, Kris obviously does because he's.
No, I just going to say I think the guys have covered it perfectly. Really, I wouldn't add anything.
Well, I do think that there's a lot of the problem in the media outlets in which some of our fans choose to go on. I'm naming no names, of course, but I think you can probably all guess which one I'm talking about. And I just think, do they go out and try and find these people with a net? And it's like, yes, I might agree in some sense of what someone is saying, but the levels of which they go to get their points across, I just think it doesn't make the rest of us look any good, does it? It doesn't. If other people from other fan base look in and judge me like they judge someone on there, I'm embarrassed. Enough said.
Mark, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to make one point. I mean, I think Tim Stillman's written an article for Arse blog today around the protest and that, and he's made some interesting points. But one of the points that he made was that I kind of had to sort of disagree with a little bit was that an indicator that some people are doing it for their own good, and I'm not disagreeing with it because I do think that there are some people who are a little bit more seeking the limelight than others. But what I wanted to say is that a lot of the work that goes into discussing what to do about the protests and formulating them and it's done by people who are not even on Twitter or who have a very small presence on Twitter, and you wouldn't know how much they have to do with it, And a lot of people, and I mean, I'll speak for myself. I got involved in this in the last couple of years on a more serious note, purely because I felt that something was wrong at the club and I wanted to see if there was anything I could do to try and help with the situation. And originally that was about how the fans were being treated, not just by Arsenal, but by the football authorities in general. And we've had some real victories over that. You know, whilst people tell us there's no point protesting and it'll never change anything, we've seen victories about that, you know. And whilst some of it is very easy for people to do, like the Premier League putting the £30 cap on away tickets next season, is easy for them to do from a financial point of view. They wouldn't do that unless the fan groups had all come together and got involved in putting that pressure on. I do not do this for any self-serving purpose. There is nothing for me to gain out of this other than generally getting cunted off a lot of the time by people and being called all sorts of stuff. So myself, me and a lot of other people, and you know, Raj is one of them as well, do a lot of work, and we're not doing it for ourselves or for any sort of publicity reasons. There's nothing for us in this. We're literally doing it because we think the fans are being shortchanged, and we want to try and do something about that. So whilst I do realise that there may be some elements that seem to be a little bit more in it for themselves, I'm not even sure in what way that actually happens, but I don't know the ins and outs of it. Please do not tar us all with that same brush, because we're not doing it for any other reason than because we think it's the best thing for Arsenal Football Club and its fans.
I got called the other day, Kim. I don't know if you noticed, but talking about...
Don't tell people the names I call you. That's between us.
Oh, okay.
A filthy pirate.
No, it was a tattooed freak looking like coked up pedo.
And then I replied to it, he doesn't do coke.
So, yeah, it's like Mark says. Like, I mean, you know, Chris, me and Mark have agreed on things and disagreed on things, and same with Raj and me and Jace, and you know, you have disagreements with people, but it's just having the ability to speak to someone, and the key thing I think with, especially with social media, is if you think that you're getting to that stage where you think it's starting to go down the route of we're going to start slinging mud, just either don't reply, block, or just kind of walk away. And it is difficult. I mean, I've tried to do the same myself, and I'll freely admit that I have been caught up before with the people that I just want to get my point across, and then you think, Christ, why am I bothering? Because no matter what you say, you're not going to get the point across. And the biggest issue I have at the moment, and we get it on the radio show a lot, Danny will attest to this, when we get people on the live chat, is that you'll be doing the chat about the game, and within 10 to 15 minutes you'll get somebody in the chat box going, oh, well, he's AKB, oh, well, he's WOB. And it is the most mind-numbing, most stupid thing imaginable, that you can't just be a supporter of Arsenal and want what's best for the club, whether you believe the manager is the right person or not, whether you believe the board is wrong or not. You know, to be tarred with a tag, you know, I'm 33 years of age. I don't need to be tarred with a tag to justify my beliefs. My beliefs will always be what I believe. And the idea that you have to abide by a tag to sit into a pen of people, I just think is just so silly.
Did you say what you believe is what you'll always believe? Because you once had red short hair.
Did I?
You believed that was a good idea.
I did, yeah.
Indie
I was very young
Chris.
though.
Chris.
I was very young and inexperienced, Danny.
You've never been young, neither inexperienced. How dare you?
Neither of you.
He was born with tattoos as well.
He was. From previous life. Right, a few questions here for Dom to lighten the mood. From Mihir. Mihir. I'm sure that's
you there?
Yes, that's me here. Have Walcott's performances been affected by his ACL?
Physically, I don't think so, but mentally, I do. I think if you look back at the start of the season when he played a few really good games against Manchester United, was one. He was getting stuck in. He was tracking back. He was doing his defensive duties, playing up top, and then he couldn't get a kick in a street fight at the moment. He's just out on the right hand side, wandering around, doing absolutely next to nothing. And that's nothing to do with him not having an ability to move around. It's just his desire is just not there at the moment. Basically, he just wants to run off the shoulder of the fullback in between the centre-back, and if he doesn't get the ball, then he stands there. He's just not getting involved at all. And like the criticism for Theo's been there for quite a few weeks now. Listening to you guys talk about him, and the label of being a passenger is probably not far off. Again, one of those players that Mesut Ozil's probably just scratching his head, thinking, "Christ, is this what I've got to work with?" And which is why I think that if he was to go to a Liverpool and play under a sitting back deep counter attacking system like Leicester do, I think he'd probably be actually quite good. But in a system like ours where it's all about possession and being able to pass the ball and get involved a little bit, then I just can't see him doing anything of note. But I don't think that it's anything to do with the physical problems of an ACL. I think it's more mental.
So do you think that gives him any excuse for jumping out of a 50-50 tackle against Crystal Palace at the weekend? Do you think that's why he did it, so he makes the England squad, or is just that he's just
I think that he's always been like that. He's not gone from Jack Wilshere to Theo Walcott as far as going to challenges, has he? He's always been that type of player. It's definitely not an ACL. Like I said, it might mentally make him a little bit more tentative. But again, at the start of the season, I saw him flying into challenges. So, I don't think it's a physical thing.
Lovely answer. We've got some more for you, but I'll give you those later. I'm going to go and ask this one to Gimli. You ready, Gimli?
Yes.
You got your finger out your ear?
I
Lovely.
have.
From the notorious Jed, who is quite notorious, he says, "What's your favourite thing to talk about? Unrealistic new managers or unrealistic new players?"
Or unrealistic new players, because it's always nice to dream, isn't it?
I see that, and that cunt Indy Carly is at it again.
No.
Fucking hell. Business is slow at KFC.
Who is he linked us to now? Oh,
Everybody.
Danny, your comment was absolute genius, by the way, on that status. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, what was it?
I'll find it. Talk amongst yourselves.
Right, so I'm thinking whether I should ask. No, I'm not going to ask anybody else that one. But yeah, Josh, you're a cheeky monkey, and that's what we like.
Yeah, the only thing Indy Carlia should want to know is how your fucking bargain bucket tasted. That's the only thing.
And can he get you a discount?
Exactly.
Oh, just anybody. I think I follow. I know about 14 people or 24 people that know him and that follow him. All you do is he goes, "Look, Arsenal player found on Moon. Click here to find out more." No, people. He doesn't know anything. He's a bullshitting fucking turd merchant. Leave it.
The turd merchant.
Speaking of turd merchants, Liverpool 2-0 up. Your tweet, Danny, was business slow at KFC, so starting to make shit up again. I hate the summer, and I hate you, and I hate KFC.
Well,
Brilliant.
that just about sums it up for me. Okay, right, another question.
The very next comment underneath it is just simply nonce.
Oh dear, not quite the Gimli levels of abuse, but there's only a few people I do it to, and he's one of them because I really don't like him, and I don't like the fact that he's just don't like him. Don't like his picture. That hat is misleading. He should have a big B on it for dumb. I don't like the cut of his jib. This one I'm going to give to. I'll give this one to Simon. From Nicola. I think that's how you pronounce it. He says he always sends in decent. Oh, the bin dippers have scored, haven't they? Oh, it's Danny Welbeck. No, Daniel Sturridge. Welbeck. Yeah, Welbeck scored for Liverpool. It's the haircut that confused me. He says, would you agree that our season fell apart when Santi got injured?
I think it's one of the factors that led to it. I think at the time, I remember it wasn't made of such a big deal because all are being out because everyone's saying, "Oh, Ramsey can play, in the midfield as one of the two sitting." But I think we've seen we've missed Cazorla just controlling the play, dictating the game, and I think along with the lack of an out-and-out top-quality striker who's going to score 20 league goals like Leicester and Spurs have both had this season, I think Cazorla's absence in the midfield has been crucial, yeah. And he's back for hopefully this Sunday against Manchester City, and I imagine he'll go to the Euros, so good for Spain, but not great for us.
You think that's bad? It's had my Tesco shopping delivered. There's one bunch of bananas and 3 individual bananas, and one of them's green. It's confusing. But yeah, Simon's wise words as always. This next one is I'm going to give it to, because there's so many decent questions. I want to get them all in time to give everybody one question each, unless you really are passionate about it. Oh, jeez. Apple turnovers. Oh, I love Tesco's.
It's the only workout you do, isn't it? A turnover.
I have to actually even put them close enough so I can reach them. I can lick them while I'm talking.
I didn't. I put them on the end of a
Don't
stick.
put it on the keyboard, you muppet. Right, so yeah, I'm going to ask everybody one question. If you really want to answer it as well, then just jump in. But this next one to Mark from Jay Gooner. What's your thought on Ramsey's future at Arsenal, Mark?
I don't know, to be perfectly honest. Personally speaking, I think Ramsey thinks he's a lot better than he actually is. I do feel sorry for the guy because he's played in so many different positions that, has he really had a proper chance in a settled position with a settled partner alongside him? I'm not convinced he has. So, maybe that's what he needs. What is his best position? Does anyone know?
Liverpool.
I don't think Wenger knows. I think Ramsey is destined to be away from the club at some point in the next year or two, but I'm not going to break my eye over that too much because I'm not his hugest fan.
Okay, someone's wrote something in. What else is in the shop? Mini cheddar. No, I'm gluten intolerant now. If the mini cheddars come in, go out quicker than they go in.
Salad intolerant.
It is. Right, as you've piped up, another question from you, from the legend that is Akif. He says, is Arsenal holding Welbeck back to avoid further injuries?
Who knows? I think maybe even, Kris earlier in the show brought up, Norwich being a good team for maybe to getting Giroud's confidence back up or back into form or something, and I really don't know. I would be playing him if he's, fit. He scores when he's playing. He seems more lively. The team seems to flow a lot better with him up top at the moment. And if that means that Giroud's got to sit on the bench and watch, then so be it. And I am a big fan of the French lamppost. I really do like the guy, but it doesn't really make much sense to me to be playing Giroud when Welbeck's the hot shoe, as they say. So yeah, look, potentially maybe his knee is feeling a little bit. It may be flaring up here and there, but it would probably make more sense to give him a complete rest rather than have him on the bench. You never know. Someone might get injured and he's got to play a full game. So generally players will only be on the bench if they're fit enough to play the whole game. You don't really want to be taking players on the bench if they say, oh, look, I'm not too bad. I can only play 20 minutes, though. You probably wouldn't bother. You'd pick someone else for the bench. So I don't know. Tough one.
Oh, dear. Sad times. This next one is to little Gimli. Are you ready, little Gimli?
I'm ready.
Have you put your Quavers down?
I've put my Quavers down.
Lovely. From Calvin Pagarara says, every year we face three fronts, which we can barely keep up with or never. What changes do you reckon we need to compete in all three major competitions?
Oh, that's a good one.
You're next, Kris. Get your thinking hat on.
I think definitely we need football-minded people on the board. I think that's the first thing we need. I am one of those people that believe we do need a new manager because I quite honestly don't know or couldn't tell you whether he's going to buy in the summer, which is possibly the third thing, which is world-class quality players. I don't think the second one will provide the third one. So therefore, that's it. World-class players, a new manager, and some football-minded people on the board.
God, that was short and sweet and to the point, much like yourself.
Thank you very much.
Have you seen the what I've put in the Skype chat box about the beginning intro to the written part of the pod for the website? You mute yourself and have a little laugh to that. Right, Nicky G. Wilson, who I've just recently followed on Twitter because he has some decent things to say. This one's to Kris. I'm actually thinking who would be the best one to answer each questions. Look at that. It's only taken me nearly 3 seasons to get the hang of this. Do you think Wenger will buy... See, I said Wenger then, even though it starts with a W. Do you think Wenger will buy the types of players in the right positions we need or more small number 10 pass men?
It's kind of both, really, because I do think we do need another creative player. I think Dom made the point in one of our chats we were discussing the night with John and saying, oh, he'll probably just go and buy another tricky number 10. And Dom's point is, well, we could do with some more creativity. And
Isco.
I agree. Yeah, I like him. I would prefer Fekir, but I do like Isco. But no, I think maybe it's blind faith, maybe, but I do have a feeling that he might surprise us a little bit this summer. I don't think that we're going to be doing the whole trolley dash of a few years ago of 7 or 8, quote unquote world class stars, and I don't think anyone should start getting Aubameyang shirts printed now. But I do think that we might bring in 2, maybe 3 players of notable name. And we've proven before with El Nene that they don't have to be established superstars. And from what I'm led to believe, there's a few that are in the pipeline. One obviously is the Xhaka deal. So I do think he might make a bit of an effort this year. He needs to, in my opinion. And I think like Marcus said and Dom has said, and a few of you said actually, the striker has got to be a priority. But I'm maybe in the minority that thinks we're crying out for a centre back as well. I'm not convinced Gabriel is ready yet. I think he might be, but I think it's another year away. Chambers, for whatever reason, hasn't really gotten the chances. Mertesacker and Koscielny are not getting any younger, so I think the centre back is a big need, and the centre forwards. Yeah, as I say, I wouldn't hang your hopes on somebody huge, but I do think he'll address that area, because if we go into the season next year having lost likely Rosicky, Arteta, and potentially another Flamini, for example, I just don't think our squad is strong enough. And barring Iwobi and maybe Toral, depending on how his pre-season goes, I don't think we've got enough youngsters that we can certainly turn to now and say, right, you're into the squad.
Oh, I see Mark wants to give you a thick ear, Chris.
Uh-oh. Go on, Mark.
I've got a follow-up question to this. Who wants it? Simon or Mark?
Oh, you're not. I thought Mark was going to. Oh, I see what he's done there. I've just got it. I've read the chat box. Very good.
Oh, Fakir.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, I'll give Simon this follow-up question. Still from Nicky G. Wilson. He says, did we need Arshavin when we had Cesc and Nasri, or Ozil with Cazorla, Ramsey and Wilshere already at the club?
What's he mean? What's the question?
About buying too many number 10 pass
Oh,
men.
buying too many number 10s. Difficult to say. I mean, Wenger seems to like playing unconventional wingers out wide because of their ability on the ball and the fact that they can come inside. So I slightly agree with Chris. In fact, I think they do need a bit more creativity, but rather than another central attacking midfielder, someone from out wide like Fakir, who creates from out wide and can beat his man out wide, rather than an Ozil number 10, I think is more what they need. A striker, definitely, and a centre-back, definitely. And with the centre-back, I think it'll be a case of revisiting players that Wenger could have bought 2 years ago, and Manolas and Benatia, who both might be able to leave their clubs, but they definitely need a centre-back, I think, because Mertesacker is out for the rest of this season. He's getting pretty old. Gabriel still can't speak English, and he's had 18 months to learn it. And beyond that, Callum Chambers
actually learnt some Portuguese to try and compensate.
Czech speaks about 8 languages, which helps.
And the manager
and then
does as well,
Callum Chambers seems to have gone missing, so I think a centre-back will be a priority, a centre-mid and a striker, which is what we say every summer, so don't hold your breath.
I have it on good authority, by the way, Danny, that our friend Canadian Kelly has actually stolen Callum Chambers and put him into one of her dungeons.
I thought it was John she was going to abduct.
No, John's a bit too rough around the edges. She likes the cut of Callum's.
John's getting the poontang elsewhere, from what I've heard.
When was the last time Callum Chambers started a match?
Yeah, I was wondering about this the other day. He's not been injured, and he's had bugger all to do with the team.
So
FA
stagnated.
Cup tie, wasn't it? Burnley? Was it Burnley?
Don't know.
I think it was that far back.
I'm going to pretend that I knew.
Or Bournemouth.
I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to tell you, as if by magic, when it was.
He played against Bournemouth in the Premier League in midfield, didn't he? Holding midfield in January.
The last time he was on the bench, the Norwich game was with the under-21s. Sunderland, he was not in the squad. The 4 games before that, he was on the bench. The last time he played was 4 minutes against Everton. On the bench, not in the squad. 45 minutes against Leicester at centre-back. On the bench, DM, 1 minute against Stoke. On the bench, and then 1 minute against Newcastle. Last 4 games.
So he probably hasn't even played 90 minutes this year.
The Dirty Pirate was right. There you go. Played DM against Bournemouth, 90 minutes.
I mean, that's fucking terrible. But...
All season he has played... does it tell you the times? I think it might. If I go to the top of the page, it might tell me how many minutes he's played all season in the Premier League. 312. Well, there you go.
He'll be gone then.
Yeah, that's 1/3 of the time Giroud's gone without scoring a goal. Hey!
Better off sending him on loan.
Talking of that, the next question, I'm eating organic nuts, by the way. Next question is going to go to Mark, talking about the loans. From Philosophical, to be sure, says, should there be a revision with our loan policy? Starting to become a bit of a joke now. Mark?
I don't know about now. It hasn't been that great for a number of years, to be honest. The problem you've got is you've got to try and balance between getting a player alone at a club where he's going to be playing at a level that is advantageous to his development, but then also that the club he's going to can actually risk playing him for the prolonged periods of time during the season to make sure that it's worthwhile him being on loan in the first place. So it's a real balance, and it's one I think we've really struggled with lately. I think this year it was again, it wasn't looking that great because Akpom and Hayden weren't getting many games, but then that sort of flipped a little bit in the second half of the season. Maitland-Niles was doing really well, but then his mum got involved, so that scuppered his plans. and then Terrell, who's probably had the best loan period, has really done well in a Birmingham team that was struggling last year but has done well this, and he's been their player of the season from what I can recall. And then the flip side of that is you look at Iwobi, no loans, gets his chance in the team, and he's really, really taken that chance. And I know it's early days still for the boy, but he's 19. I know he's 20 just the other day, but a 19-year-old has come into this team and has put some of his older, more experienced colleagues to shame with his desire and his work ethic and his talent.
Season than Theo has.
I would suggest that is true, and who knows? But again, you kind of would like to think that next season, I think it was Kris that alluded to it. Maybe next season Iwobi is maybe a squad player because we've upgraded in that area, but we'll have to wait and see. So with loans, I mean, what do? You've got to give the guys a chance to go out and play. We've looked at the academy has got its own problems at the moment, and the fact that when we had two games and we needed to win one of those games to guarantee ourselves getting promotion. And in those games, I think Wilshire played a part in one of the two games, if not both, and we had some other players as well, and we still managed to fuck those two games up. And we got through the Blackburn match the other night, and now we got to play Villa. But that's just even to get into the top level of under-21 football. So that just goes to show, our catch-up we're playing. And whilst we all sit and watch, who's in the FA Youth Cup? Is it Chelsea City again?
The final? I think Chelsea won it.
Did they? Yeah,
won it for about the 500th year in a row.
Yeah. So and yet we'll all carry on making jokes about how many of them players
40
will ever play for the Chelsea first team.
40 out on loan at the moment.
Yeah.
So when you look at the state of our loan system, you got the Irish legend, to be sure, Stephen O'Connor. It was loaned out to second from the bottom of Division 4, York City, and then he only got 2 or 3 games.
He's
well, then he's not good enough, is he?
He's not. He's not very good. No offence to the young lad, but I think Arsenal's not the level that he's going to be looking at playing. I'm sure he'll make himself a career in the game, but I don't think it'll be at Arsenal.
Can I ask Dom something quickly on this?
No.
We've had 15 players go out on loan this season, and I'd say the only ones that have done well, before Kris continues, Chesney has done brilliantly at Roma, and Dan Crowley, you shush your noise, John Terrell has done brilliantly, and I think to a certain degree, Zelalem has. There you go. So only 3.
Did you see Terrell's quotes the other day?
John, what did he say?
Yeah.
He said he's going to do pre-season and then decide his future. So I think if he doesn't get in the first team, I think he'll ask to leave. So.
Oh, for fuck's sake! What were you going to say, Kris?
I just wanted to ask Dom something because
Is it about charming the ladies?
No, it's about loan players. Dom, how we hear a lot about when players go on loan, you hear about the quote toughing them up, getting them ready for the level we play at. So you've seen like Wilshire went to Bolton and that and came back a stronger player, and then obviously has been unlucky since then. But how many or how much time would you say a player who's developed his body, so to speak, giggity, how long do you think it takes a player's body to adapt to this level? So you see, like, a Wobie's quite a big, strapping lad, even though he's young. Do you think a player of like John Terrell's stature, for example, like Fabregas when he broke through his stature, do you still think a player can come in at that level and cope with the physical demands of playing a whole season, or do you think the loan is designed to do that, to play him at a lesser level to toughen him up?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I mean, it completely depends on the type of athlete you're dealing with, because you got someone like a Mesut Ozil who isn't a very physical player, but doesn't really ever need to be, because he's picking passes and he glides around, and you can try to kick him if you want, but he's usually 3 meters past where you think he's going to be, or he's already passed the ball. So then you've got somebody like a Jack Wilshere, who is a more combative midfielder that gets stuck in and puts his foot where it probably shouldn't be. It completely depends on the type of athlete. But when it just comes to the physicality of a player, I think it's more just, an Iwobi is going to be used to playing in the under-19s, where he's not going to be used to being pushed around. Then he's going to come up against some pretty hefty centre backs and midfielders that are going to nudge him off the ball quite easily. So that's probably more what the guys need to get used to, is just how to stand their ground and how to position their bodies so that they don't just get dispossessed, because it's a different aspect of the game that they're not going to have to deal with in the under-19s. But again, it's just completely dependent on the type of kid you're dealing with. Someone like Rena Adelaide, who's already quite a physical young lad, probably doesn't need to go out on loan to get the physicality of the game, but maybe he just needs to go and develop and just play football week after week, more so because you can't replicate that type of intensity in an under-19s game to see how he's going to cope and get him used to the rigours of not necessarily the physicality of playing, but just the repetition of putting your body through a pretty intense 90 minutes of movement and then having to back it up week in, week out.
You got to think that some of the younger players in the club have got to see the shit that Theo Walcott is doing. The fact that Ramsey say, "I want you to go on and play in central midfield." He goes, "Oh, and I'm playing left back. Oh, I'm playing right midfield. Oh, I'm playing striker." And then others think, how are these two getting in? Well, because they're Wenger's favourites, but it must be so infuriating if you're a younger player.
You also got to keep playing them, though. This is something that has bugged me a little bit for a while. With the Walcott thing, I'm very much on the same bandwagon as I think everyone on this pod is now. That I think he's just had enough chances now. It's nothing personal. I just think he's a player that could do with a change. But this idea that a manager has his favourites. If a manager signs a player at a young level, or at sort of a level where he wants to develop him, if he just bins him out, which Arsenal has done, let's not forget, Will Tord in particular, it makes you look weak. You can't just admit, oh, well, this player isn't good enough, because then you're essentially saying to the players below him, well, we'll play you because we haven't got anything else, which has been criticised before. And if you don't play them, then you don't give them enough opportunities to show what they have got. Same with Oxlade-Chamberlain. If we just bin them off and then we sell them on to somewhere first season, like Chelsea have done with Stars, and they're a hit somewhere else, then we're going to get slated for not giving these players a chance. Whereas Walcott, I think 10 years is probably more than most people get. So I'm not in favour of just binning them off after a year, 2 years even. But when you get to Theo's stage, I think it's time to go. I think it is really now.
Has anybody got any idea what Joel Campbell is doing wrong? Why he isn't getting games?
Doesn't fancy him.
Brilliant. Huh?
Doesn't fancy him, does he? He can't.
I don't think Wenger, fancy him really. Clearly not, does he?
No.
I think he might go in the summer as well. Maybe I think.
He will.
What's he done wrong when he's been playing? I'm not a huge Joel Campbell fan, but to me, I don't understand.
But a manager can just not fancy a player, can he not? It's just. I mean, I think Campbell was great on that, especially that Olympiacos game away. That assist, I think, was for the Giroud goal.
He seems to suit the way that we're trying to. I don't even know how we're trying to play, to be honest. I don't think we've actually got a system or a style of football at the moment. But he seems to make things work better when he's there compared to the other options.
They used to have a problem with his attitude, but I think it's fine now. So I think
18 games, 3 goals, 3 assists from someone who's virtually not had much of a chance.
I think the issue with Walcott is that Wenger's always said, if you ask Wenger where does Theo want to play, he wants to play up front in a 2 with a big man, and he'll never get that at Arsenal. So I think If he went and played somewhere in a 4-4-2, I think he might be quite good for Walcott. But I think he's never going to get that at Arsenal, is he? So
Can I just say, for the record, I'd much rather have Joel Campbell in the team than Theo Walcott.
out
Is
wide.
there-
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, is there anyone that disagrees with that?
I'd rather have Sol Campbell playing right wing than Theo Walcott. Anyway, another one from Akib Dom. He says, with an injury like I'm choking on nuts. Hey, with an injury like bone bruising, is it something that you can be too cautious about? Is it something to be cautious about?
Yes.
And it's not contagious. As I read it.
The thing with bone bruising is that's the reason that Danny Welbeck struggled so much, is because it's a delayed reaction. The blood vessels that there aren't too many of in those areas swell, and obviously there's not too many places to go in the bones. So what will happen then is that certain neurological pathways will appear and just start sending fluid to the area, even when the injury's kind of gone. Those pathways can still sometimes hang around and keep sending fluid every time he starts getting up and running again. So you put him on ice, you take him off all impact, altogether to stop that from happening. The flare-ups go down, he's riding the bike, he's in the pool, he says that there's no pain, he starts running around, there's impact there again, and then all of a sudden it flares up again. And it's one of the most frustrating things, because there's technically not an injury there anymore. But that doesn't stop the fact that he's limited to, not being able to do much. So, you don't know that might not be happening at the moment, just some little flare-ups here and there that are still hanging around. But apparently he had that little operation, which was quite successful to sort that out. But it's definitely one of those really, really tricky, annoying injuries that can linger around. But I think he's past it, to be honest. I think it seems that he's over it. I'm not really sure why he's not playing.
Fair enough. Right, one for Kris. This is a really interesting one from Big Red Gooner. The summer window will be quiet for Arsenal. What are the Pirates' transfer plans? And if you want, you can give a quick mention to your Schlobberknocker of goal fest that you've been involved in the last 3 games.
Yeah, I like
and
the
your reoccurrence as a right back.
Yeah, well, yeah, less said about that, the better.
Give away a penalty.
Yes, I did. I like the cheeky little Arsenal summer will be quiet, so I like that. We are going to be doing some recruiting, I think it's fair to say.
ISIS style, or
possibly we're bundling people into backs of vans and carting them away, that kind of thing.
Lovely.
No, we're going to sign a few players. We've let quite a few go over the course of the season. I think it's 11 have left since the season
let
started.
Go. How many of those were told to fuck off? Just the one so far.
Pretty much all of them. Actually, no, 2 of them. One of them moved away. He married and moved away, and one of them's retired with injury, unfortunately. But yeah. No, we'll be doing some recruiting. We'll see if we can get some more people in, and we'll see how we get on next season. But do you want me to give you some results from these recent games?
Well, if anybody wants a trial with you and they think they're pretty good, what should they do?
Contact me.
Hey, how would they do that?
That's kind of how it works. How
would they contact your people?
If they actually live in Devon or the Plymouth area, genuinely, and they wanted to come for a trial, we're training all summer. I don't give them any time off because it's important to keep the body moving, isn't it, Dom? And I don't run them into the ground, I should stress. But yeah, no.
Maybe you should.
Yeah, maybe I should. You're right.
If they have a beard, they have a 73% chance more likelihood of playing, don't they?
If they bring
and tattoos, 100%.
If they bring past,
I can get them on a good drug program if you want, Kris.
Peptides.
That's the future. That is what I'm looking into. But yeah, our last few results, we've played loads of games because there's loads called off over the summer. So we've had a 5-1 and a 4-3 victory over Central Park Rangers in that time. Last night we won 4-3 against them. Schnoblock of a free kick winner, by the way. Awesome. We did lose 10-0 and 8-0 to the top of the league, but there's no disgrace because they've won the league by an absolute streak and they've scored 140 odd goals. So
didn't you single-handedly cause a team to fold?
Yes, we folded Team Carpi reserves.
That's Carpi, not Crappy.
Absolutely.
I said typo.
They are my friend Dave's team, and he's a lovely guy, but he basically gave up with the reserves and said, "No, you guys have beaten us. We're done. We're folding."
Is it because he went right? That's it. We've been beaten by them.
We've been beaten by them.
There's no lower we can go.
We can't drop any lower than this. So
they all got on their knees, got their samurai swords out. Although it's not called a samurai sword, is it? And it was all hairy-carry all the way.
Oh, it was all gone. But no, we've done well. I think basically we've got 3 games left. We got a game on Sunday, and if we win one of our last 3 games, we can't finish any lower than 6. Which, granted, is not brilliant, but given last season's,
obviously you're aiming for 4th.
Naturally, yeah, we want the Arsenal trophy, but. Yeah, we've done all right. It's enjoyable, and we're getting new kits next year, so that'll be fun. But
You can, for anyone interested in how to join the Barbican Pirates, you will find Kris on Union Street most days, handing out Haribo and heroin.
And eye patches.
and flyers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will touch on something that might be of interest to our cheeky. I'll touch on something that might be of interest to our Arsenal following instead of a shout out later. So I'll come back to you on that one.
Lovely. Right, another one for Mark from someone called Dan. No more, no less. Should we buy Wilfred Boney from City? Try not to call anyone a C word when you answer that.
No, I don't think Boney is any better than Giroud, so therefore there is no point doing that.
Okay, we'll ask you another one, as that was a short one. Gunner Outpost has got 2 questions. I'm saving the next one for Simon, but you can have the other part of his question from Gunner Outpost. Which ex-Arsenal player would you most like to see join the coaching staff?
Oh, probably Keown.
Oh, he's got a monkey's head, you know.
He might have a monkey's head, but God bless him, he knew how to defend, and I believe that he could probably still teach some of our guys a thing or two. Although, Steve Bold can, and he's done jack shit for our defence.
He's been allowed
over the last few.
Nothing but that, though.
Well, Steve Bold, hang your head in shame. You're nicking a living.
My first game at Highbury was against Stoke in the League Cup, and he was playing for Stoke. Hey, what a shit game that was.
And he had hair.
He did. He's got no hair, but we don't care. Uncle Stevie Bold. That's not the entire lyrics, but never mind. This one to Simon, and then I've got a good one for Gimli. From Gunner Outpost again, Simon. Which current football tactics approach would you most like Arsenal to learn as a plan B, like Villarreal's or Atletico? Do you want to explain what either of those are, just in case people don't know?
I think he's implying in terms of Atletico and Villarreal and the defensive mindset where they sort of soak up the pressure and hit teams on the counter-attack, I presume, is what he means.
I think George Graham Arsenal days, maybe.
Yeah.
Although they did score. They scored 6 in the UEFA Cup once. I think we beat Standard Liège. Was it 6-1? Oh, great. Ray Parlour once scored. No, that was... what was that against when Ray Parlour got a hat-trick against Werder Bremen?
Borussia Mönchengladbach, I think
was it? I thought it was Werder Bremen.
It might have been Werder Bremen. It's one of the two.
George Graham or was that Wenger?
That was De Wenger. That was when Effenberg was playing for the opposition, I remember.
Oh, the mighty Effenberg. Go on, Simon.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm not a huge fan of those style of tactics and playing. If we could play like anyone, it would be if Thomas Tuchel's Borussia Dortmund at the moment, I think. Yeah, I think they're the best team to watch. I don't know if anyone saw when they played against Spurs. I mean, they absolutely played them off the park twice. And I think anyone who's watched them at all this season, they've got just about the right balance between sort of attacking prowess and the speed they play at, which is something Arsenal seem to have lost. I always remember listening to the commentary in the old days, and it'd be, here goes the Arsenal sprint relay team. And the pace and the speed, the passing is something that's gone. And if that came back, I think that's what I'd most like to see from an Arsenal team.
Oh, that's a very good answer. Right, this next one is going to go... Dom wanted this one, and then the final one will go to Gimli. There was one from Pen Griffey. Actually, I'll ask Kris the Pen Griffey one. That was over the space of 4 tweets. Right, I've answered that one. Right, Dom, from Shona Black. It's nice to have a lady sending in a question. Regarding shoot more, which is our catchphrase, as we all know, do we actually shoot a lot? Maybe more accuracy is needed. Dom.
Should we shoot more? The $1 million question. So if you head over to smartheader.com with our very own Mr. OG, you can have a look at the total shot ratios for all the teams. So shots shots at goal versus shots allowed. And we're sitting around, we're actually ahead of Leicester. Spurs have probably got the best, and then City and Liverpool. So we're around, third-ish as far as total shot ratio goes. But if you look at goals for the season, we're actually pretty fucking horrible. So
58, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that the shooting more probably isn't a huge concern. Conceding less would be nice.
Yeah,
well,
Ozil, I mean, he's got a nice.
He's got a few goals this year. He's got a few goals, but if he's not creating, who the hell's going to create? That's the problem. Anyways, shooting more. I wouldn't mind taking a few more pings from outside the box, but we all know that's never going to happen, and because it just creates a bit of chaos. But
He's told Elneny to stop
definitely
it,
need
hasn't he?
someone that can actually finish their dinner. We need someone that can actually put the ball in the back of the net first time without needing 17 chances to do so.
But do you think that's partly Wenger's fault? Because he's recently told Elneny in the press, don't shoot so much.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, we're not allowed because that's giving away possession. You're right. You can't go shooting from outside the box because it could get blocked and you get counted against. But we pass through brick walls and the same thing happens anyway. So I'd rather see someone have a ping.
Oh, right. This next one is for Little Gimli. Are you ready, Little Gimli?
I'm ready.
Okay, this is the penultimate question. The last one I'm going to give to Kris. It's a big one. I've got a cat licking cream off my finger. Hey, I've gone all
Giggity.
Will
Did it get much of the piss as well?
Did you give it some Quavers or just...
No, I've got an apple turnover, and Lily wanted some, didn't you, Lily? Yes. Right, Gimli from Kabir. He says, "Why has everything reached a point where you have to have an extreme opinion on Arsenal in or Arsenal out to support Arsenal? Hashtag it's crazy."
Okay. Why do you have to? I don't know.
Why has everything reached the point?
It just seems like those that shout the loudest get their faces out there, and there's nothing wrong with having an opinion, but not shouting over everybody else. You can be respectful and have an opinion, like Mark is, like Jeff is, like many of the fan base are, and those are the people that I would suggest you follow. Don't follow idiots like fucking Mo Hader or that DT Pillock. Even if you agree with some of what they're saying, they make you look like a cunt. Right? Quite simply. There's no other way you can put it. Follow people who
You have to balance out how kind Mark was about it all.
Oh,
He
yeah.
did yin for his yang.
Exactly. I don't mind being Mark.
You're all cunts!
I don't mind being Mark Stang. But yeah, like I said, you've got to surround yourself on Twitter with the people whose opinions that you respect, and don't necessarily need to shout the loudest to get heard over other people. Just in the clarity and the respect that they have with their opinion are the type of people you need to follow. So just to emphasis, Mark, good, Mo, cunt.
Talking about ex-Brazilian-born Croatian strikers, it's nice to see Eduardo da Silva score his 18th goal of the season tonight as they crumbled against Sevilla in the UEFA Cup.
I hope Sevilla absolutely smashed the bin dippers, by the way.
Gamero. Yes, so do I. It's not. Where's it been held?
It's in Basel in Switzerland, I think.
Oh, that's far enough away for Italy for it to be okay. Right, so where's my questions? Done that one. Right. Anybody can have a go on this one. We'll start with Kris. This is from Pen Griffey. In my opinion, we need a centre-back, a winger, a striker and two central midfielders. Who do you realistically want and who's out for you? Also, with the board's quotes about Wenger having over 200 million to spend in the last 4 years, surely Wenger is a bigger problem that even the board's lack of ambition than the board's lack of ambition. So there you go. So do you agree that we need a centre-back, a winger, a striker and two centre midfielders? And who would you realistically want for those?
Well, it's a hell of a...
Do you want to pick a couple and someone else pick a couple?
Yeah, it's a hell of a shopping list. I'll go full hipster and give you some names that you might not have heard of rather than the obvious. Shall I do that, just to make it interesting? Yeah. Centre-backs, I agree with Simon, by the way. Manolas is one I'd like, but one that's realistic you could get.
Let me guess, you want that Laporta for 50 million quid?
God, no. No, I like a guy called Assia Mandi, who's the captain of Ram in France. He's 24. He's the captain of Algeria at national level, can play right back, centre back, or holding midfield, so he's multi-positional. And he'd be cheap as far as...
multi-positional.
Hey! Midfield, obviously I've said Fekir, and I have said for a while, but
you're going to get one.
Yeah. There's a few, obviously I'm a little bit partial to the French league, there's a few in the French league. I still think that the forward, Lacazette, I still think is somebody we could realistically go after and get if the money was right. And as far as midfield, depends what position you want. If you want an attacking midfielder, there's a wealth of people out there. Somebody cheap again, Boudabouz at Montpellier.
You just made that up.
He has made that up, hasn't he?
Boodaboos.
I would like. There's somebody I'd love us to sign just for you, Danny, who plays for Angers.
Rod Fanny.
Rod Fanny. He's French Asian, but he's called Billy Kekeo Umfonfone.
Of course he is.
And I would love us to sign him just so that you could butcher it week in, week out.
Say it, Danny. Say it.
Billy.
Yeah.
Billy.
Or
how doing, Billy?
Pastopoulos at Borussia Dortmund. That would be another good fun
one. Play for us. We sold him.
He's also isn't he the owner of the Laundrette in EastEnders? I think.
Didn't you know he used to play for us?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm not going to say it a third fucking time. He did.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of talent out there, but to answer the gentleman's question, I don't think we'll be that busy. I think realistically we'll probably get in. I think 2 marquee names, and one of them will be Xhaka. I will say one thing though, just to tease our listeners a little bit.
Oh, cheeky.
I know. I myself, I know Simon knows this information as well, and somebody else. It's fairly likely that we will be signing a left back from the French league this summer. I'll just let that one dangle, and I know quite a lot about him. And if we do,
I bet
think
you it's the Lorient old boy.
Might be.
Yeah. Is it Guerrero or Guerrero?
Ferrero Rocher.
Rafael Guerrero, yeah.
Get it!
Is he one of the Ninja Turtles?
He is. Donatello's joining as part of the deal. But the one thing I love about him is he can score a free kick, which more on that later. But yeah, we do need to do some shopping. But I think if you're expecting big money spent on 7 different players, I'm not sure.
And if people want to hear more about this kind of European nonsense, where should they go?
No, nonsense. Very good.
Nonsense.
No, don't go there, Dom. Jesus.
No.
Myself, John, Tom, and Drew do a podcast, and Danny, of course, occasionally when he can be bothered. Football Hipsters podcast. You can tune in. We're doing one tonight, actually.
I hear you might be tapping someone up for a bit of a Leicester special in the summer.
There's a certain gentleman with a lovely quiff that I'm having a little chat with next week. Yeah, absolutely.
Tell you what, I'll be listening to that one. Right, so moving on to Simon, who we might well have been talking about. Simon, what couple of players would you like at the club? Because every week we moan on about this shit and it's never going to happen, so you might as well give it a go while here. And then Mark, you have a little think as well, and Dom.
In terms of the positions, I mean, I agree with a lot of the players that he's targeting the positions. Centre back, there's a lad at Lyon called Samuel Umtiti, who's a very good player, can play at left back.
Hipster the hipster. You can't have hipster the hipster. That's not allowed.
He's a good player.
He'll have you outside with dual pistols.
Great shout, by the way.
If we centre midfield, I know it seems to be quite diverse from people on Twitter and fans where they want him, but if Kante's release clause is £20 million, I think, and if reports L'Equipe this week have been saying that Wenger really wants him, he's already contacted his agent. So him in central midfield will be good. As a winger, Fekir from Lyon, I know he might perhaps stay there one more year. Kris might know just because he's been injured for a lot of the last season. So perhaps one more year there would help him. And then a striker, it's difficult because there's not many who you can realistically get who are going to be in much of improvement on Giroud and Welbeck. I know people argue that. But 2 I'd perhaps consider would be Morata. But the issue with him is Real Madrid have a buyback clause, so they may end up buying him back and then selling him back to us for sort of a decent amount of profit, so it'd be 35 million plus. And if not him, if there's any chance of getting Aubameyang out of Dortmund, I think that would be Wenger's pick, other than Lewandowski or Benzema, but those 2, again, aren't really available. So Higuain's another one that people talk about, but I don't think I particularly have him, and I don't think Wenger would particularly want him. They almost got him a few years ago and pulled out at the last minute, so unless
they decide they wanted loads more money. All right, Dom, show your beans. Getting all excited for the 3rd time in the show.
But I don't think that Wenger would go that. And so, I mean, the striker I think will be the hardest one to get. I think he'll be fine getting a central midfielder, and I think he'll be fine getting a centre-back. But I think the striker, I don't know, difficult, because if you're not going to improve on Giroud and Welbeck, is it worth buying another 15, 16 million pound striker? So I'm just waiting, I think.
Who knows? There you go. Mark, have you got any that you would quite like to see us dig deep for?
Yeah, there's a young American lad playing at Rayo Vallecano. His name's Drew Pierre Balzac, but commonly known as Drew P. Balzac, and I'd like to see us sign him.
Oh, cheeky.
I bet you any money we get somebody tweet us going, yeah, I've watched him for a while, I think he's quality. Probably Mo.
Hey, he's not bad in the box.
Oh, do you know who it'll be? It'll be bloody Doyle Square will message you or go, yeah, I've always followed his career. I think he's been excellent.
Actually, Indy Callier actually tweeted that earlier, so it's already out there.
Dom, you got any, or you don't do this nonsense, do you?
I don't really care. I think the positions, though, I think we've just left ourselves too much work to do this window because of Rosicky, Arteta, Flamini. These guys all, packing up and potentially, well, let's be honest, they're probably not going to be there next year, and not getting anyone in at the start of the season. I know we got El Neni in the January transfer, but I think it's just left us way too much work to do. I think we've really overestimated the quality of the squad, and going into a transfer window, really realistically needing a pretty, it's not even necessarily the cost of the player, it's just the quality of the player, and more often than not they go hand in hand. You're going to need a decent quality central midfielder, something up forward, whether it's a wide forward or a striker or both. And then definitely going to need, the centre back and the left back if Gibbs is to go, and who knows what's going to happen with Oxlade-Chamberlain and Theo. And I think there's just too much work to be done. So I've got absolutely no. I'm not optimistic like Kris is. I think that we'll get one signing in the ilk of a Xhaka or something like that, and the rest will be 10-15 million pound signings. So I'd love to see Royce come in. We all know that I get my beans fizz a little bit when I see that guy run around.
And me.
me.
You have a little think, Gimli. The two I want, I'm going to go a little bit left field here, as the people in the know say. I'm going to go for the bearded legend that is Mr. Nat Borchers of the mighty Portland Timbers. He's 35, but he runs around like a 40-year-old, but you ain't going to fuck with him, which is what we need at the back. And then also from the mighty Portland, I'm having Fernando Addy, who this season, 7 in 9 goals. He's by far our greatest player. And then who else would I have from there? I'll have maybe Nagby as well, because he's a cheeky smile.
Danny,
that's the ones I'd have. Yeah.
Write down a name for me.
No, not right.
Just because I want it on record that this kid. You said about the Bilbao.
Not Droopy Ballsack again, is it?
No,
It's not coming.
No, hairy arse.
Oh, Droopy Ballsack's coming.
You said about the lad from Bilbao. Laporte, who everyone's raving about at the moment.
Oh, right, the ones that Man City have agreed their €50 million buyout.
Apparently so, yeah. There's a guy playing in the French second division, so I know it's a bit left field. Clement Lenglet.
Bless you.
Trust me, in 3 to 4 years, he's going to be one of the best centre-backs in the world.
Did you find him on FIFA and then refuse to name because it's not playing? It
No.
doesn't say his name when you play.
Oh, well, yeah, naturally. No.
So that gets you the right ump.
And just so you'll love this, he plays for Nancy, which is spelt Nancy. So, yes.
Mo Johnson's old club.
Promoted into League
Green
1.
and yellow.
He's honestly, the kid's going to be an absolute worldie.
Are we due for 2 French Paris teams in the top league this season?
No.
No, they're not doing it.
Nancy and
some other made-up name.
Dijon are coming up. And
some Nancy mustard.
And at the
Sounds like
moment,
you're buying Sainsbury's. That's what Fife lives on, Nancy mustard.
And at the moment, Mets are in the third place spot. And who did we get from Mets, Danny?
What, the New York Mets?
No.
They're playing baseball.
Bobby Pires' old team.
Softball. I know that. I got a picture. He had short hair and no beard.
He did.
Bless his socks. Gimli, what players do you want? If you had to pick a couple of players, it's never going to happen, but this is what the people want to hear.
I really like Paulo Dybala.
You want all 3 of those?
Yeah, that's the one. Marco Reus again, another fantastic player. I'd love to see him at the club. I don't know. I was just
those Quavers.
Yeah, that's it. Down boy.
Those dog-flavoured Quavers are disgusting. Have we had enough about this then? Are we moving on?
At least I got a clean knob. Yes, Let's move on.
Well, thank you very much to everybody who sent in all those brilliant questions. It actually makes a change. There was the real Josh Dawes sent us about 30 questions, most of which were bollocks. But we managed to winkle one decent one out of him.
Wonderful. With that said, then let's do some predictions for Man City away. Mark, as the guest, will come to you first.
His prediction will be Man City away.
1-1.
Oh, and scorer?
Drew
It won't be
P.
company.
Balzac.
No, you got to pick one.
Olivier Giroud
Oh, you're taking a piss
for the
now.
banger.
Right, so yours will be going down as the listeners' prediction.
Listeners are fucked this week then. Simon?
This is for the bloggers, Simon.
2-1 Arsenal and Sanchez.
Okay, wonderful. Chris?
I think 2-1 as well. I'll say Welbeck.
Dom?
0-0. Ozil will score first.
Danny?
I think we're going to beat them 3-1 because, that's why I'm only slightly above Dom. And I think the goal scorer is going to be... I'm going to give Ozil because he's an angry man.
Okay, we're going to lose 2-0 Aguero. Shout-outs. My one this week goes to @Gary Howes 1974. That is GaryHowes 1974. He's a top guy, a top gooner, so go and give him a follow. Danny?
I'm going to give a shout out to 38,560 people. The first one of those, I've gone and closed the bloody window with a thing in it. So you hold your sausages there. I thought I was all done. Right, where's my little...
I should also give a massive shout out to Leicester City this year, or quite
brilliant.
Possibly the greatest sporting achievement of all time.
I once won a beanbag race.
Well done to them. We should have picked Simon's brains some more.
We should have done. Well, it will all be in Chris's pod.
It
more
will.
that we didn't. My first of those shout-outs is going to go to Gooner in Hell, who is @bad_Waltersdorf. He says, Danny, could you please give a shout-out to Styr Dals Blink on the next pod? Knocked out by Mould in the Norwegian Cup, a League 2 team near my place. There you go. And he said, butcher it all you want. And my other shout out to the 38,359 was to all the people that in 10 years ago, in 2 days' time, were at the final game at Highbury, Arsenal 4, Wigan 2. I was there. Henry got a hat-trick. And it was wonderful. And 6 of the players that played that day are still playing now. So to all you 38,359 people, and there's probably a few more that sneaked in, hello. And 10 years ago, it doesn't seem like that.
No, certainly doesn't. Dom?
My shout out is going to go to Aussie legend Mark Schwarzer, who has managed to get 2 league titles, 2 different teams in 2 years, Danny.
Without playing a single fucking game. You got nothing.
And your OCD has just absolutely gone nuts, hasn't it?
It's none. You don't get none for playing no games.
2.
I've got one.
He's
more
got back to back. What a legend! 43 years old.
Bugger all.
Maybe we should get him in next season, and it'll be a good omen to win. Maybe he could go 3 in 3 different teams.
No one's ever done that. A few have done 2.
He's one of them.
Simon?
My shout out is for John Welsh, proud member of the ABW radio team. He's @JWelsh84. Very good follower, good Arsenal fan. Currently roaming the streets of Birmingham, armed with a packet of Quavers and a golden retriever.
Why Birmingham? He doesn't live in Birmingham.
Because he's there.
He's up there on work.
He's up there.
Is he?
Work, yeah.
He works.
So
soliciting Labradors with Quavers.
yeah. He's got a jumbo bag of Quavers.
I think people might need to put into a search engine man, dog, Quaver, and then
The thing is,
figure out the rest yourself.
If you actually chatted to John on a regular basis, as we do, you'd know that it's not far off being true.
No. As long as he punches it in the back of the head when he's done.
Chris?
Oh, God. Where do I go from there? My word. Not a shout out as such, but just a cheap plug if possible. I'm writing a little blog for Mr. OG, which I'm hoping to have done for next week, which is about free kicks and set pieces and how Arsenal are either good or bad at them. So have a look out for that. If I don't eat the crayons. But the other plug is for, as mentioned earlier on in the pod, the kind people at ABW, but particularly obviously Gim and Danny, have very kindly helped me promote the Pirates stuff, bits and bobs on here over the course of the last 1.5 years. And we're carrying on next season. And thank you to the very kind people at the Arsenal Shirt, or at the Arsenal Shirt on Twitter.
Fine book.
Indeed, Shaky and James, the authors of a very good book. They give us a couple of shirts to auction off to try and raise money. Anybody that lives in the UK or indeed overseas, you'll know how hard it is to fund Sunday League football teams, grassroots football teams. We don't get any help from the local FA.
They're a hindrance, if anything.
Yeah, they can barely even cut the grass each week. So we do a little... essentially like a fundraiser every summer where we auction off some shirts, and anything that is donated to us, people go into a draw and they can win some shirts. And this year we have the Rosicki home shirt from, I think it's 12-13 season. Still going. That one's going to be going back into the pot.
If it's match worn, it'll be like new.
Coming to that. We also have a Santi Cazorla final season of the night kit, the one with the blue and white hoop round. That one's going to be going into the pot. And cult figure, Arsenal previous legend-ish, Lucas Podolski. We have got one of his actual match worn. He wore it in the game at Leicester last season. It's one of the yellow Puma shirts. It's the player spec, proper tight-fitting jobbies. So it is a professional player shirt. It's worth £800. And we will be putting it onto our draw this summer. So we'll be giving those away.
You're giving that away?
We're not giving it away. We're doing our donations. But
I'll give you £20 for it.
Stay tuned, and I'll give Kim and Danny the information. But we're at Barbie Pirates. Have a quick look at my timeline, and as soon as we have the shirts, we'll open the donation pages and go for gold. So I hope good luck.
Does it matter if we reach enough? Are we going to be the sponsor? If the donators, will the pod be the sponsor of the shirts again, or does that?
I was going to say, where do we stand on like our sponsorship, Danny? Are we sponsoring the Pirates next year?
No, the listeners do, because we have fuck all money.
Bollocks to them.
The logo of ABW will continue to grace either our shirts or our training gear, one of the two, depending on who else we get sponsorship, because they're a bit tight. Some of them, they like to have their names on the shirts. But yes, ABW will very much be front and centre of our shirts. And the target we always set every year is £500. I think last year we went over that target, which was fantastic. But that basically pays for our pitch fees every season.
And beard oil.
Yes, and we usually have like a cap on donations, because somebody very generously actually gave us £100 last year, which was amazing, and we appreciated it. But we did feel quite guilty, so only give what you can afford.
He's a lovely man.
He is, but no, good luck with that, and hopefully that draw will be going live in the next couple of weeks.
Wonderful. Almost forgot Mark was there. Mark? Oh, he's fallen asleep.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I almost forgot I was here as well. Two shout-outs. First one is to anybody who joined in the protest on Saturday and had the courage to hold up their banner inside the stadium. Never be frightened to have an opinion, particularly when you are doing it in a peaceful, non-antagonistic way. And the second shout-out is to the wonderful Mr. Eden Hazard for a beautiful goal that he scored the other night that saved me from any further consternation this season about those horrible cunts from N17 winning the league.
Scum.
Definitely so.
Fuck them.
Yes. Right, so all that's left then is to thank my wonderful panellists.
What if OG's listening? We haven't mentioned the latest bloody blog.
Oh, you mentioned the blog.
And the bloke who bloody wrote it's only here, isn't he?
Simon.
Yeah, shit. Yeah.
Simon's done a blog, and see, OG, you're listening to this, and your own bloody people ignore you. Go on, Simon, tell us what it is.
No, I've written a blog for at the Bergie Blogs, which is on Twitter. Give it a follow. We're doing they're coming out every Tuesday at the moment. So, and there's guest blogs. I know Kris is obviously doing one. Dave Goonaholic's doing one. So they're out every Tuesday, and I've done one this week on Wenger's contract, as we've been talking about, which obviously has 1 year to run in the summer, and just looking back at how it compares to the 2013-14 season when we went into that season again with 1 year to run. So give it a read. It's been tweeted out by all the pod accounts. And give the blogs a follow as well.
Yes,
Sorry,
I
OG.
suggest it. That's some top work that's come out of the blogs this year. So a big up to all of our bloggers and the great man OG himself, who's called us all Kevins this week.
Oh, what a thunder.
Is that a Canadian word, Dom? Kevins?
You obviously haven't seen Gary the Goat.
No.
You've got to watch
Quavers?
Gary the Goat.
Oh, I
Years.
have seen Gary the go. Yes, I'm totally on the same page as you now. So all that's left then is to thank my wonderful panelists, Mark, Dom, Kris, Simon, and Danny.
You have to be here.
I have to be here. So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and keep it Arsenal. Good night.
No, cheeky monkeys. Let's all laugh at Tottenham. Let's all laugh at Tottenham.
No.
La 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 la.
Muggy, scummy, lily white cunts.
Me, the shit that Jose Mourinho did when he was in press conferences, throwing fans under the bus, throwing players under the bus, telling everyone that it's everybody else's fault,
Conspiracy.
And Arsene makes one tiny little comment and people lose their shit. So it just goes to show that he's a pretty classy guy, and it's not like it's a common occurrence. But he's probably got a bit of a point. If it was a Borussia Dortmund or a Bayern Munich kind of atmosphere every time at the ground, regardless of how they were playing, it probably would be a little bit easier to play.
Yeah, the fans control the atmosphere. Though, is the only thing I would argue against that. The players. If you play well.
Oh, I think so too. They're playing like a bunch of cunts all year. Let's be honest. Sideways, bullshit, backwards. There's just nothing to be cheering about in the first place.
Yeah. Boring.
It certainly is. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, or gentlemen, should I just say? I have to go down Tesco's.
Bit of shoplifting before it
Get
closes.
some Quavers.
Yes. No, I haven't had any dinner yet. I've got to go down Tesco's and get some dinner.
Get some faggots.
You got to ice your 7 knees.
Some what?
Faggots in
You
gravy.
got to ice up your 7 knees.
What are you eating, Danny?
Apple turnover.
Fucking hell. You've consumed more calories during this podcast than I have all day.
That's true.
And then you're trying to tell me that you're not fat.
I had
You're big
mushroom
bone.
rice and mushroom chow mein, and that's it.
Danny, the lettuce on a Big Mac is not one of your 5 a day.
Like I'd eat that. I say no fucking rabbit food. I don't eat McDonald's.
And the
shit.
gherkin certainly isn't your 2 of 5 a day.
No, I have grapes and bananas. That'd do me.
All the sugars.
What? It's inserted fucking anally.
Annually. Once a year I have my bananas.
Jesus Christ. I just imagine you get up and you eat lard on a stick for breakfast.
I'll tell you what, which one of us will die the first, and it won't fucking be me, you crack whore.
I bet you die. Do you know what? I bet you die before me, and I'll go to your funeral. And I said, "Fucking told you so."
No, I reckon the odds are pretty even. I reckon Gimli's going to get too stoned and accidentally fucking eat bloody rat poison or something, thinking it's chocolate sprinkles.
I'm 50% older than you, and at the moment I will live longer than you do. If not only someone will find out on Twitter where you live and
I'll
kill
tell you what. I'll put 100 quid on it that I don't. That I fucking live longer than you.
What if Davis finds out where you live?
Yeah, very true.
Is he going to come up and finger me or something? I don't know.
No, just beat the fuck out of you until you're a mush, and then he'll drink
Why
you through a
why would he beat the fuck out of me?
Because he's Welsh
He's an
and
angry elf.
What if you break the law? There's no breaking the law. He's the Welsh justice.
I think we should send that Geffen, whatever his name is, round to see what Jace does to him.
Yeah.
The thing is with Jace is if he comes after, you'll see it coming from an absolute mile away. You know exactly what you've done, and there's no threats and no follow through.
He's like Jesus, but he won't forgive you if you apologise. If you get on your knees, he'll just make it easier for him to kill you.
You know those fuckers on Twitter that talk about meeting up and having a fight.
Bullshit.
I wouldn't try to bluff with Jason, call him out on something like that, because he would show up and beat the piss out of you.
That's why Piers Morgan moved to America, just get away from him.
Would do.
Thank you for letting me plug him, by the way.
That's quite all right. That's quite all right. And Danny, are we doing anything for some? How are we keeping the podcast going next year?
Spit and dandruff. And you're going to cut down on the Quavers.
Looks like it
No
looks
more
like I'm going to
fines.
have to start wearing some pants again, and we're going to have to start selling them off.
Oh no.
I used to run a podcast. Now I
Next
get
week
blowjobs for Quavers.
Yeah,
we've got
that's
2 more
it.
pods to go, so we'll just mention it. We'll open up the donations again. Let's see if people dig deep. You never know, they might do. And if not, we'll I don't know, cross our fingers and.
Sell Kris.
You won't get very much.
Oh, if we do the hair.
We could sell Kris to football spastically, or whatever they're called.
Football spastically.
Tastically.
I was crying last week for when Jace was in tears when he was describing Danny wheeling into the toilet. I don't think I've ever heard someone laugh so
Piss
much.
flaps.
Hashtag piss flaps. What did I think to my? What was my intro? So was it nice or something shitty?
No,
I
it
can't
was something
remember.
horrible.
Bloody cunt face.
Yeah, I said that. We've done a poll to change your name, so welcome, Cunty McCuntface.
Wasn't that Australians that did that?
I think
Boaty McBoatface, wasn't it?
Totally
Was that-
McBoatface,
Yeah.
yeah.
They needed to name a boat.
That'll teach him.
Poll and it was
And then they did something about our currency, and we wanted to call it dollary doos. We're like Arsenal fans. You put a poll up, and we just take the piss.
I know Ryanair have named a plane now, haven't they? Planey McPlaneface. And it's like, oh, come on.
Pikey fuckers. They owe me about 600 quid.
Do they?
Oh, my mum, me and my mum.
What did they do? Charge you for one seat when you needed the two?
No, we've booked a holiday for the offspring and my mum to go to Ireland for a week, back to the motherland. She had a suitcase packed full of potatoes and everything, and then the fuckwits realised, oh, we've ordered the wrong date. So, on Ryanair, being the wonderful people that they are, said it's 300 quid to change the tickets when the tickets were only 350 quid in the first place. So we paid another 300 quid, and then the day before they went to go, my brother had a heart attack. I mean, only one because he had a, what was it? It wasn't a proper heart attack, was it? What was it?
One of them fake heart attacks you have.
Yeah, I think he went, don't go. No, I think he had an infection, heart infection, and then...
Was he scared because he'd have to dress himself for the next week?
No, he lives in a pool of jam. We just chuck biscuits at him when he's hungry. He flaps at him like Jabba.
I did that with a diabetic once. I chucked Jaffa cakes, just shoving them into his mouth. It worked.
My brother kind of supports Liverpool, but he knows fuck all about football.
That's why he supports Liverpool.
Yeah, but he's nearly a vegan, no?
Really?
Fucking idiot.
Is that because he doesn't eat his own hands?
Hands of ham or an armpit that dispenses suntan lotion? Which would you have?
Oh, arms of ham. I'll be fucking gone.
Hands of ham, but they grow back, but at the same rate as your nails.
Oh, yeah, no, I'd have arms of ham then.
Hands, not arms.
I could... Hands. Oh, yeah, I could plan dinner ahead then. Oh, they've grown back. They're almost a stump, so we'll have them with a nice fucking bit of egg and chips.
No, I didn't say what quality the ham was, though.
Are we talking Aldi or
Yeah.
are we talking Waitrose?
Probably in the middle, a bit of a Tesco's.
Oh, no, I'd take that.
Would you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Was it well cooked or underdone?
I think it depends on how closely you're holding your hand to the fire.
I'd like a penis of steak if that grew back. Or are we going too far?
You've taken Richard Herring's premise and you've ruined it.
Because I'll tell you what, that's a good meal for anyone.
Is it?
Yeah.
One little chipolata.
Nah.
You make me sick.
You make me sick, you fatty.
Oi, gingery.
Gingery. Oh.
Lovely.
This is where it goes.
It's gone.
I-
Only 2 more pods to go, though.
Is
You
it
doing-
too much?
Sorry, go on.
more?
So we're doing one for next week.
Yep.
Just before I go, we're doing one next week, which is Jeff,
Man City.
Raj, and I don't think Mark will be on because he was on this week. So it'll be-
Raj is on it, so how long will that be, Dom?
Oh, probably 3 weeks worth.
That'll see us through to the end of the season.
That's all right. We're sorted. Then we'll include it as an end of season special. Just get people.
It'll be like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. You'll have to split it into 3 parts.
Lord of the Gatto.
I watched Titanic on 3D, and they had to put that on 2 discs. Poor second disc. When he was painting her like the French girl,
Yeah.
it's almost as if I was motorboating her.
Yummy.
But massive nipple erection. She nearly took out the fucking light.
And for the last one of the season, which will be the last game of the season is on a Sunday, so any time the week after that, should we do a live one? Have
We're
everybody on?
same format.
Crying.
Everyone comes on, even if it's only come on, cunt each other off for 10 minutes and then leave. Everyone's welcome on it, and it's going to be completely live, and it's going to be more of a Q&A than anything. A listener's Q&A for the end of season.
And totally non-football.
No, it's got to be football, isn't it? We are a football podcast, after all. Not like I had from Tesco's earlier. I bought a packet of salt
You were
and
there
vinegar
earlier?
twisty crisps. Yeah,
And now you're going back again?
yeah.
You do know you can buy everything all in one go, don't you?
I've only got little hands.
Made of ham.
Made of ham, and I'd eaten them.
Oh no, Stumpy!
But they tasted like sausages, not. They were made by yellow peas. They were called yellow peas, yellow pea crisps, and they were supposed to be salt and vinegar, but they taste like Cumberland sausage. Didn't like that.
That's got to be wrong on any level.
It is. Don't try them. And someone nicked our wheelie bin today.
Bastards.
Someone in Wales will be living in that now.
Don't nick anything in Wales.
Seriously, I saw the Jippo of the estate running down the hill with a fucking kid's scooter over his shoulder earlier.
How
He
is
never-
Joyce?
He's all right. He managed to wheel to the bottom of the hill. Silly cunt. He didn't realise it, did he? He was running down the hill with his kid's scooter. Obviously, he's just fucking half-inched it. Yeah. I thought to myself, why didn't you just get on the scooter? You're on a hill.
Well, there you go.
Probably doesn't know how to scoot.
It probably doesn't. But how much skill do you need? If you've got to stop, chuck yourself off.
Probably didn't think
Chuck
of that,
myself
did he?
off all day.
What time is it there, Dom?
2:38 p.m.
Bloody hell, I'd still be asleep if I was there.
Ugh, it's a
When are they
hard life.
deporting you back to HMP
Never.
Australia?
Never. I'm too important here now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too many kiddies to look after that you fathered.
Trust me, I'll be fucking out of here if that happened.
Danny, I've
Conveniently
just had
jump on a plane.
I've just had a horrible thought, Danny boy. Without John, I need you to record as well, don't I?
Fuck, mate. Why is John?
We've had this conversation 3 times
Have
now
we?
in the last hour.
He's trying to get balls deep in some brummy bitch.
He's in
Is he?
Birmingham.
All right.
All right, mate.
Is she a barmaid? They usually are.
Well, he's gone up there and work, but he messaged earlier to Simon, Neil, and Dom and me and said, "Where's the gash?"
Oh, they say romance is dead.
I can't partake
Oh,
in
he's
this
amazing.
filth.
No.
I'm
Back
going
to Tesco's for the 4th time.
Exactly, I'm going to get me some tucker. Ain't that right, Dom?
Yep.
See, I know the Aussie lingo.
You're going to spend all your dollaroos.
I am.
Dollary doos.
Dollary. I'm going to spend all my dollary doos. Thank you, Simon. Pleasure as always. And Chris and Dom.
You
problem.
have
No
a
worries,
you
thanks.
twat.
Danny, you're a cunt.
Oi.
Good night.
Bye. Oh, thank God he's gone. He's nothing but an irritant.